Boards. Board games, it's what we're going to play. Board games to finish up our day. Hey. Or interrupt, in the middle of the day if you're based in the USA, or potentially if you were somewhere very far away, like on the other side of the planet, maybe it's just the start of your day. So board games to be
in a really
part of
hot
your day.
heat wave, in which case you expect to sleep no time before 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So I've been to England one time. From my experience, as I recall, is air conditioning not super common for you?
Almost never found in residential properties. Infrequent in small commercial. Really only found in big commercial. Until very recently, it would have been very hard to cost efficiently justify AC in resi properties, just because you're just not going to use it for the vast majority of the year.
I totally would. I would be using it most of the year.
I mean, but also the other thing is that most Brits therefore haven't grown up with AC. It's one of those utilities, because you grow up with it in America, you get used to using it. You just can't accept a world where it's not 75 or 80 or whatever your preference is. That's just how the world works. Whereas here we just go, no, it's winter, it's cold indoors, we'll put on a sweater. It's summer, it's hot, we'll walk around in a t-shirt, or not even a t-shirt.
Or if you're my housemates walking around with a 90 all day.
Trust me, I put a shirt on to come on the stream.
And we are grateful, eternally grateful. Thank you.
I'm not sure how to take that, Zane. Fine.
That's a bit mean.
I'm hurt.
Well, I don't think it would. I don't think your physique would matter. It would just feel, I think, a little bit too intimate.
We would have been jealous. I would have just wanted to take mine off too, and that's just. I mean, we'd get censored. The whole stream would be taken down.
I mean, again.
Yeah, then we just get into the whole nudity violations, and that's not good times.
So after the stream, then.
Yeah.
literally the outro. As soon as it cuts, it's gonna be like
after party.
Pass me the
ice. For those who are tuning in or watching this after the fact, this is the Tuesday
36
trial,
degrees centigrade, and the heat's gone to our heads.
Good. Hello, Alex.
And also board games, yeah.
And Tuesday trials, we are trying out new games. One of them is a game that has been tried once before by us last week, 5 MELL. We're going to make very small rule changes. And the other game is NO-EVELL. I'm not sure how to pronounce this one. NO-EVELL. Oh, NO-EVELL. Of course it says NO-EVELL. Because it's hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil.
Okay.
And that's the one that's based on the Three Wise Monkeys. And I'm excited to see how the second game will turn out.
Does it require 3 of us by any chance? Because
we
seem overpopulated.
I think it's suggested with 3, but it can work with 4. And the rule said 5 would be a push.
Okay.
But we'll see how it works. And hello, Matt. It is lovely to have you join us. This is Matt from the Offline Gamer podcast. He's a lovely person who was actually one of the companies for In a Bond. If you were there.
Yes. Matt did surprisingly well.
Andrew January. Good morning. I don't think it's actually morning for anyone here. But I mean, good morning for our Australian people. Yes, absolutely. Given that I'm doing the busy bedtime breakfast bladder now, that's what I've renamed it.
Can we find somebody from Hawaii?
People who are not here.
Somebody in Hawaii, it could be the morning.
Yeah, the morning, not early.
West Coast have just had midday. So yeah,
Late.
Hawaii, it's morning.
Late morning for them, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try and introduce this kind of ragtag team of people. So I am Bez. I'm here because I made this
Because you run the place.
Lots of people have made games for it, mainly me, I'm not going to lie, but lots of other people. I mean, 8, 9, 10 designers submitted games for it just in the past year via the thing. And yeah, I started this, and yeah, I'm Bez. Hopefully you know me. This is my stream.
I was about to say, wait, you're here because you run the place. Seems to.
Who are you again?
yeah. Who are you and what are you doing here?
So, XATE, who are you?
I'm XATE, and I'm here because I accidentally told Bez about a promise I'd made for the new year to say yes to everything.
Oops.
And now you've just told the internet.
No.
Kind of New Year's resolution.
The year ends on Saturday, so it's not that much more scary time left. So
You see, that just sounds like encouragement. that sounds like get your demands in now when wielded at the internet.
How did the year end on Saturday? I'm missing something.
My year ends on Saturday. I don't do the whole calendar year thing. I do birthday to birthday.
I was about to say this must be your birthday then, would be the guess.
I see. Got it.
And early congratulations to your birthday. And all the wonderful people whose birthday it is. We've already said this morning, it's his Richard Denning's birthday, and Leanne Weaver's birthday, and McCall's birthday, who you might have heard about.
And I just got my first call out for someone asking me to do something. Not take long.
No.
Oops.
So, Heather Newton, organizer of open house murder mystery parties and protospiel.online co-organizer. Why are you here?
Uh,
Why are you here? How did you get this thing?
Just justify your presence.
yeah, I guess I have an addiction to play testing I need to really work on.
I mean, to be fair, you come once a month. That's hardly, you know. I mean, you come to this playtesting group once a month, I suppose I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do feel like we might need a self-help group, though, at some point.
When are we going to schedule it? Because I'm not sure my diary has any space.
Yeah, it's like 1 week after Protospiel Online will be the Playtesters Anonymous.
Right, exactly.
I'm just too addicted
That would
to
make us the
playtesting.
PTA.
And apparently, Matt's birthday is exactly 1 week after mine, on the 20th of August.
Cool.
I mean, all the best people have August birthdays.
Yeah,
Everybody
I'm
has
sorry.
one a year.
So, Andrew, do you wish to explain how you came to be within this world?
I mean, I'm just sort of the ultimate hanger-on, really, aren't I? I barely have a published title. I barely have managed to write one that hasn't been published. I enjoy playing games. I enjoy playtesting games. And Bez credits me with far too much for encouraging the existence of the Wibble++ system. Because I allegedly wrote a game for it, which has been evolved so many times that I can barely remember the rules of my own game. But nonetheless, it was the first I can officially say, I know it wasn't, was it? Was it the second non-Bez game? Because hadn't somebody pitched
Like
something
it
else
was very
first?
early on, but like it was the first one that I was like, oh wow, I would not have made that game. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, like this year, I look at the games and I saw actionable. Okay, I could imagine myself making that. You know. I'm trying to think of what else I've played this year from the entry. I'm going to actually look at my spreadsheet. Shuffle, I made something similar to that. Reassemble digital. I could be Invisible is probably the closest to something that I might not have made. Do you know what I mean? Which it's just that's the whole thing. Like trying to say like, yeah, it's not just me anymore. It's like all these other people making games that I probably would not have made. And one of those games we're going to play tonight. I don't know which order. I mean, let me know if you have a preference. One of them is a game that hopefully it'll work fine. It's like not super exciting. It's 5 MELL. It's a slight twist on 3 MELL. It's evolved and it's become a race game rather than everyone plays to the end. So it's quite a bit different. But the other one is completely crazy. It might go terribly. It might go well.
I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote that it's getting gradually cooler here, so we should start with the easier one we've played before and move on to the one that requires more thought. Because it is slowly cooling here, and it would be quite nice, especially if we have to take headsets on and off and screens. And yeah, because I gather there's some level of sensory whatnot.
It's like not a speed game. Well, it is a speed game, but you don't have to take headsets on and off quickly.
Okay, but you still have to move around.
Well, you have to gesture and say, like that.
That is a level of activity that sounds strenuous in the heat in this room.
Okay.
I don't mind. I genuinely don't mind. Yeah.
I mean, you can always just take your t-shirt back off. I mean,
apparently, yeah. Again, this is going to be on the great inconsistencies, isn't it? If I take my t-shirt off on this stream, we're probably fine. If one of you does it, we're probably not. And they're in a whole realm of nonsensical gender whatnot.
You can just be the person turning off their camera. The world doesn't have to know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm guessing we have to go round by round. So, you know.
Well, I mean, you do get to turn off your... Well, technically, you don't turn off your camera. You turn off your ability to see, so you should kind of...
So we see the person who's not seeing us. That's interesting.
I was about to say that sounds even worse. Everybody can see me, but I can't see what an idiot I look like.
One person blindfolded, one person can't talk, and it's the one person who can't hear, which would be a bit hard to do in real life, because noise-cancelling headphones are quite tricky. Okay,
I mean, I haven't ceased to exist. You can still hear me. It's, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, I know you exist, Andrew. Let's start with 5 MELL. Now, 5 MELL is a game wherein we are making... Oh, not quite.
Words.
No, that wasn't for you, Andrew. I meant because I've already played 5 MELL. I haven't played the other one.
This is true. This is the same thing. I don't mind. We can do the other one first.
We can start with 5 MELL and then we'll go through that one quickly and then we'll play the other one, or...
Plus, I'm the reigning champion in 5 MELL, and if I play again, I might not be anymore.
Oh, so you're trying to extend your reign?
Obviously, yeah.
Shenanigans.
Okay. Anyone in the comments, let us know which one do you want to have first? 5 MELL or NO-EVELL?
Don't start a democratic process.
It becomes a popularity contest between you and me, then, Andrew.
I mean, I think there's some people who like both
of us.
Heather,
so, you know. Do you have any preference?
Or we could just not let either of us vote. That's easily.
If somebody suggests 5 MELL.
Okay, let's go with 5 MELL. Let's just get it started and hopefully it will be easy to explain. Okay, in this game, I am going to show cards one at a time. Every card has 2 letters on it. You've all seen these cards before, hopefully, from the L deck.
Never.
And
unless
you will pick one of them to start or extend a word. You can start or extend as many words as you want, but the objective of the game is to at some point have a 1-letter word, and on a separate line a 2-letter word, and on a different line a 3-letter, and on a different line a 4-letter, and on a 5th line a 5-letter word. So you could extend stuff and work on a 6th or 7th or whatever word, but that's just kind of wasting turns essentially, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And it's a race. The first person who gets their set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins. Is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we had some vague ideas for tiebreaker, which I've already forgotten.
Yeah, we had vague ideas, but I feel like I'm not sure if we needed them. And this is one where everyone in the comments should be able to play along. Just grab a sheet of paper and something or some surface and some mark-making device. I mean, I'm not going to say use lipstick on your desktop, table because that's probably going to be hard to wipe off. But you know,
You do you.
yeah, exactly,
I have a pen. I can just write right up in here.
Uh-huh.
exactly. So the fastest possible win is at 15 cards. That
And
is 100% correct.
No wild cards, right? No
No.
wild, but you may just blow off writing a letter from a card if it.
Well,
gets
no
in your
wild
way.
card, but you can just put it onto a 6th row if you don't want to use it, or a
okay.
7th row. So.
Okay. Got it.
Oh yes, that was the rule change, wasn't it? We used to just have to bin them, and now we've decided you can have as many
Yeah,
lines as you like,
previously you had to bin them, now you put them on whichever row you want.
which
Yeah,
also addressed the issue of making a word that you can't close out.
Yeah, so you can never have, like in some of the other games with this deck, you kind of have 2 words on one row. It's like if you ever start something on a row, you can't.
That's it. Yeah.
You can't change your mind about it. You just have to start a new
you
row.
can't do that.
Got it.
Yeah.
So every row has to be a separate word.
Okay.
XATE is doing sexy librarian at us again.
I'm sorry. I'm getting messages that are making me laugh.
Okay. Now, fewest rows wouldn't work as a tiebreak because it's quite possible that we'd have 2 people get
5 rows.
15, which I think happened last time. Honestly, we'll just play it, and if people feel the need for a tiebreak, yes, Heather?
What if the first person to make a 5-letter word is the tiebreaker? But then you would have to
That's
keep
part of the win
track
condition
of,
anyway.
Well, no, like the longest word. To make the longest word before you make the shorter words is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, if you had to declare them as you went along.
Yes.
Interesting.
But then you would have to be declaring them as you go along. So we would have to agree.
And I think that would
about
influence
it
the
from
strategy a
beginning.
lot for a tiebreaker. I'm not sure anybody would truly trouble themselves.
I think I like that. Let's play with that rule.
But is the word then locked in? Like if I declare it's a 4-letter word and then I get an S and I want to put it on, can I make my 4-letter word now my 5-letter word, or is it stuck because I said 4-letter word?
I'm thinking that's only your 5-letter words locked in.
Okay.
So it's
Okay,
just
so
your
it's in,
5-letter
I like
word
that.
which
Okay.
Heather's talking
Right.
about. And so if 2 people make their 5-letter words at exactly the same time and they finish up at exactly the same time, then they just share the victory. But because at a certain point, you both win.
At a certain point, even the
Multiple
NFL
winners in
comes
line.
down to a coin flip. So
Not everything has to be Highlander style.
I don't see why not. Oh, yes, I do. It's too hot. That was it.
Yeah, you can't be killing everyone else with sword bat fights and
Too much effort.
That would make this channel's ratings go up, though, I think. If we do have a sword fight at some point. Andrew, I have swords upstairs. Do you have swords? Let's fight this out.
I have a sword. Hang on.
I can go get my sword.
I'm starting the game. I am starting the game.
No. Now we have to compare swords.
My sword's upstairs. I can't
Oh,
get
no. Okay, that's gone badly.
You dropped your
badly.
sheet.
Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh.
It's fine.
Oh la la.
That's happened. Oh, no. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So that sword was there for a reason. It was holding something together. Hang on a second.
Andrew, I am.
One more question, Vez.
Yes.
What are you playing with the whole deck or like a reduced deck?
Oh, we're just playing with the whole deck, but we're not going to get through it all.
Got it.
The sword is important, and I know you've started without me.
Well, it's an I or a Q, and so I have a fairly good idea which one Andrew is going to.
Based on the fact that the U's are hidden and horrible, and that your ability to draw vowels is questionable. Yeah, I'll take the I.
Alex says your sword is very swish. Okay,
I
so
have
we've got
4.
It is strictly a dirk.
What are they called in English? Dagon, the really thin ones that you use for fencing.
Rapier.
Foil.
I have 4 of those.
Foil.
I have 4 of those and 1 normal broadsword.
Okay, everyone's written down an I or a Q, and that's the start of your first word.
Saber is a slashing weapon, Aculus. The pointy ones are epee and foil.
Could either start a second word or continue your first. Oh,
I'm going to play difficult today because I did so well last week. I feel bad for Andrew. So
yeah,
I'll take all the least popular letters.
I'm not sure I played so badly that you need to handicap yourself that much. I'm just gonna say.
Oh, then you're suffering amnesia because of last week's game.
Completely, yeah. Yeah, I have very selective memory.
So everyone chose from the second card a terrific, marvelous letter.
Yes, we did.
And the next one,
tenuous and mediocre letter.
But now, how would you describe these letters? Let's say they are
increasingly
useless.
Yeah, that's where my brain went because I'm dyslexic. I can't tell the difference between Y and U.
Exactly.
If I could play this game phonetically, it would be so much more fun.
I went to yellow, but what are you going to do with yellow?
Increasingly yellow. I mean, that might be the lighting in Bess's boom.
The categorical deck, funny you should say that, will have a bit of yellow on
it. It does.
I was right.
So you could, since the original Wibble has no colour at all, you could argue that it is increasingly yellow.
I mean, technically, this colour has a tiny bit of yellow pigment on it. But
I knew your brain would go there.
And increasingly colourful.
You're kind of using all the eyes up here, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just gonna say, this is a phenomenal number of eyes I'm seeing.
That is a lot of eyes.
75% eyes. I mean, it's almost like we've got a beholder in here or something.
Or 37.5% eyes, depending on how you wish to view it.
Did anyone see Bez mix the deck, or have these been stacked to mess with us?
To be fair, if Bez has been stacking the deck, Bez has been doing it really badly for the past 3 or 4 months. It's possible that this week she's chosen to start stacking the deck, but
it's a long-running gag.
If Bez is going to stack the deck, she should do it on Thursday when she knows how the game works and that we aren't all going to screw it up.
I have not heard of this word. You can feel free to look it up in a dictionary.
It's not a word, Alex. Don't. Alex is making up words.
Is that an L or an I at the start? Did we have an L?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it was in Peebles who did the shuffling.
Is S or B?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
I mean, kinda.
I mean, it's good, but it's just not.
It's not optimally timed.
Yeah,
I'm happy with this. I've got a couple of 2 letters and 1 letter.
I mean, I have 5 letters. That's just.
What is it?
We already agreed the aim is to make the 5-letter word quickly.
It is what?
What's his what?
It is what? You said it is. Hold your sheet up to your face.
It is.
It is I.
It is I.
It is I.
That's a little story.
I was trying to give you a prompt, but you didn't take it.
I'm sorry. Okay. I was a bit. I'm
research and development.
Sometimes really dumb.
I really don't like the way these letters are coming out tonight. This is hard work. Even though it is really, really hot, my brain really is struggling more than normal.
that you were hiding from us now would be a great time to bring it out.
Yeah. That you, or indeed anything.
Search through the deck for a U for.
Thank you.
Yeah. Me and Zayto in agreement. We'd both like a U.
I like it less now that I know that Andrew wants one too, but still, I'd take it.
Okay.
I kind of need it.
Do you?
This one
is. Yes, I need you, Andrew. I said it.
Well, hey, that's that.
TH. Is ish a word? I totally bet it is. Hang on.
Yeah, I like you too.
I would assume it is, but I'm not sure.
One's English to the rescue. The suffix.
Yes, Aqua it is. And I probably should have thought of that before starting to wait for a U for so long. I still want that U.
Okay.
And tons of other vowels, but not until after the U has come along.
I'm with you on this.
Hi, Mac Rensafal. It's lovely to see you. You're another English person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No downers, but I'm afraid we've got a no vowel card.
Indeed.
I mean, remember back in those days when we had all the I's?
Mm-hmm. I mean, right now I'm tempted to kill for an E or an A. Or an O.
Are contractions considered one word?
Like, can't?
Like, can we do it? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I would say no contractions.
I mean, can't is a word, so I suggest you use can't instead of can't. Just a thought.
Really?
Yeah, can't is a word.
I need to know what it means now.
And if you refer to moral or religious statements as can't, you are criticizing them because you think the person making them does not really believe what they are saying. For example, politicians holding forth with their usual hypocritical cant. And that is from the Collins English Dictionary.
But I was going for isn't instead of can't, so that doesn't actually help me.
I mean, I was working off your example, so sue me, you know.
Yeah.
If you wanted to know my opinion on isn't, you should have asked.
I only asked about contractions in general.
But not to dwell. We are moving on. Ooh,
we can't dwell.
N or Z.
What are you doing?
Really?
It's torturous.
I'm throwing a letter
I'm on my 8th line.
You're on your 8th line.
I have 2 lines that start with N now.
No, because I've been holding an I because I still think an I is. I'm holding an I as my 1-letter word.
I'm taking the Z out of principle.
Now zooming along.
Sod off.
Vowels, please.
I can't think of it. I can't have elf. Sod off. There you go.
H works well. I can use an H. But now vowels.
I've gone so badly wrong. I have no comprehension of how bad this is going.
R or L?
Yes, you're killing me.
I can start a word anytime I like with just about any consonant in the English language.
Okay. Now really look at this one and make sure you've gotten one of them down before I move on.
It was a really lousy card. I didn't want to look at it.
And this isn't a really wonderful
That one
card.
really is worse.
Wow.
We're going to get through all 48 cards, aren't we?
This is ridiculously wretched.
Oh, goodness.
It's a real washout.
This is 5 bits of paper. And bear in mind, I'm only trying to make 5 words, so...
This is the problem with the randomness of Wibble.
I can use German, right? Because ZW is not bad in German.
Or Polish.
Just...
R or W. Next, we've got... Ooh!
Hey!
T or K.
I don't know where to put it now because I've got so many choices that I'm just...
I made my 4-letter word just to get that done.
Yeah, I'm not even close.
Hooray for vowels.
We must have a bunch of it.
Aquilas, I'm not taking it.
It's a trap.
Aquilas is part of protest vote and is accusing an E on protest.
Okay.
Okay, is everyone ready?
Yeah. The sheer excitement of a vowel has not yet overcome us.
And it is terribly gorgeous.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not helpful. No.
Yeah, just adding more and more letters to
the list of... Yeah, I'm not even going to show mine.
Last time I made all 5 words with the first cards that came out without skipping.
We did theorize that this game could be very subjective to the deal.
E or M?
I will take that E.
It
also means we've seen... Oh, goodness. We need that U quickly before we see more E's.
You need that U quickly before you see more E's, you mean?
Ooh.
I don't even know where I want it.
I would like it.
I made my 5-letter. Boom.
What do you have? Share it.
3.
What? 3?
3.
Yeah.
3.
That's not 5. That's 3.
No. I believe that she means she has made the word 3.
Nope. It's a 3. It's right there. 3.
Yeah, it says it's 3. Neither me nor XATE, except that's a 5-letter word. It contradicts itself.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, next. We've got
some of.
Or V.
That works with two. I'm glad I can speak German.
I'm beginning to feel I need to learn another language.
German is very useful.
In Germany and Austria
and Switzerland
Yeesh.
and parts of America. And if you want to learn Dutch, it's always great. And
I mean, the Dutch will hate you for it, but yes.
Matt Rensefal said, "Did you know 4 is the only number with the same number of letters in the name as the number itself?" I might have heard that before, but it wasn't at the tip of my mind. So thank you for reminding us of that interesting fact.
It's like he has a very large brain or something.
S or G?
Oh, goodness. Okay, I have a 5-letter word then. Tides. Just to get it.
S
just
or
to not start a new word.
I have a train wreck.
O
Oh.
or F? Oh, darn. I should not have stopped one of my 1-letter words. I just realized.
A 2, a 3, a 3, and a 4. Okay, this is not
a 2, a 3, a 5, and I'm 1 away from a 4, but I need 1.
I have too many options, and I've lost all track of reality.
Anyway, this was the last one, if you remember of it.
3, 2,
and the next one is
4.
T or D.
Ah! Is that a word? That's not a word, is it? I'm making up words now. I can make another 3-letter word. How many 3-letter words can I have?
Oh, hang on. I'm very close.
Next one. A or J. Ooh, that gives me a 1-letter word now. So I've got a 1, 2, 3, 5, and almost a 4.
Yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, and 5, and almost.
I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. I just don't have a 5.
All right.
This could be the final card.
Could be.
No. Terribly.
Thel? Is thel a word? How about thet? Can I just make up words?
I mean, you can try.
It's so easy to get 3-letter words. This is like the 4th time in a row I could turn one of my shorter words into 3 letters, but...
Can I please have an S so I can win? Please.
If I get an F, I have another 5-letter word, but again, I don't need it.
Please, can I have an S?
And Javier wants us to know that 7 has committed atrocities to 9 of the cannibalistic nature.
That is just not good of 7.
Me?
Yeah, 7's been terrible.
I've missed the joke.
7, 8, 9.
Oh, okay, well.
Yeah.
It's a very old news story.
O or H?
Theo, does that count, or is that too name-like? Short for theology? In German, technically, it would be. So can I use that, or does it not get counted?
Well, I mean, it's not in English. If it's a thing in German, could count it.
I'm currently relying on Scottish, so...
Well, then I have 4-letter words, so that means I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Well, hey.
I had to use two German words to get it. But I did get it.
I mean, you're allowed to do that. We agreed to that in advance, but I feel like that's kind of an unfair playing ground, right? Because you are using a language we don't know how to use.
Yeah.
But I don't know English, so that kind of equals out the playing field a bit.
and yet here we are conversing in this language which you do not understand.
Gar nicht klar. Ich rede die ganze Zeit schon Deutsch. Was habt ihr denn?
Sprechen Sie keine Deutsch?
Ja, natürlich, immer.
You're vlogging English really well.
Sprechen Sie keine English?
Nein. Was ist Englisch? Nein.
I mean, like paper alphabetical, we could carry on to establish some sort of order until
I wish to carry on. I wish to carry on the competition for those of us competing in one language against Heather.
And me.
And you. Well, I wasn't sure if you'd won too there, so I thought perhaps
No,
you'd
I
finished.
did not manage to win.
Okay. Let's have another card. We'll
Okay.
allow XATE to have won
So
with her
XATE has
multilingualness.
Okay.
I'm just going
Multilingual.
to take
I
off
agree
the
with
letter
what
that made it
Andrew
German.
Jackery
And
says.
keep going.
In a game about knowing words, knowing more words, even if they're in more languages, seems perfectly fair.
Sure.
To be fair, I would have made instead, if I couldn't use German, I would have made not instead of ist, so it would have been English, and I still would have had the 2 and 3 letter words. So I would only be playing for the last letter of my 4-letter word. So if you want, I'll just keep going
So
and
you
take
would
off
have
that O.
waited for an N for
I
them.
think-
So I'll
I
just
think
take off that O and not play in German.
So A or G? I'm just checking if noog is a word.
Give me
Oh,
an
that
S.
comment. Yes, that was about me, Mac.
Okay.
Give me an S.
A or G? Going again?
That'll do.
S
I win.
Got it.
What you got for your 5? What were your 5 words?
I have I is Lee, duel, and rests. And for those of you who wish to know, a duel is a Scottish boundary marker. I have come
What's
across
a
duels
duel?
Wait, you
in my
said we were only
professional...
playing in English.
It's a British word. It's an English word, but it means something that is Scottish. So I did exaggerate slightly. It isn't in Scottish. It is a Scottish term in English.
Are you saying it's spelled like that?
Correct. A duel, a boundary marker in the Highlands. I have come across duels in my professional capacity.
Can you show your sheets, Andrew?
I can. With my disaster... that's the last week's. A duel, an iron, is, arrests, and a lee.
What's a lee? That's a type of river?
It's a type of field, in fact. A meadow or field, usually with long grass.
I know tick, threat, and bra. Bra. Oh yeah, bra is a word.
Aqua knows.
A lee is also a unit of measuring lengths of yarn.
That's E. And O. Very nice. Just waiting for that E.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It kind of comes down to luck at the end, right? Like which card gets drawn next.
I mean, I think there is an
Kind
element
of
of
a
that.
bummer. Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, the skill of the game is picking the letters each time that give you the greatest number of possibilities of closing out future words. But yes,
True.
you can commit down a path that, although statistically probable, is ultimately unrewarded. So there is a
I
lot.
mean, I
Yeah.
feel like I could have definitely worked harder to try and come up with an alternate 4-letter word earlier on if I'd seen what was happening, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
And
We used
Yeah.
we used 25 letters to get to 15, so it was a very inefficient round. And duel is pretty out there. I mean, it's in the book. It's fine. But yeah, there were some strange words being touted in order to get us there.
So back to the argument about maybe it's unfair between two
Languages.
different
Yeah.
languages, it's not. I agree with the point that you could be rewarded for knowing more words, and that makes sense. But the reason it so before I've never argued about it, but the reason it struck me as like unfair this time is like Well, but you were playing in a language that more consonants are next to each other, maybe, than we were.
The deck,
And
the deck is
so
itself biased.
Yeah, so the way the deck fell was like, falling towards you instead
But
of
the word I actually made in German that was my last word actually ended with, it had more consonants. My extra more vowels. My consonants didn't actually help me on that. My consonants are all down here, unmade words.
In this specific case, but nonetheless, if you're allowed to, Polish again, for example, is famously full of consonants, as is Welsh, as is German has a fair few. I'm on the fence. Yeah, on the one hand, I like.
I come up with several 4-letter words about this game. Oh,
So here's a thought about what maybe might make it work better, because I'm not sure. If I were rating this among like other games that I've played with this deck, I think it would be pretty low in enjoyment.
I mean, that was a frustrating round as it went. The last round was a lot more competitive because it went very quickly indeed.
Yeah. Maybe it was super unlucky, but I guess my suggestion is a way to avoid that unluckiness. Is it possible to stack the deck such that there's one deck that has all the vowels, and there's one that has all the cards that don't have any vowels, and every single time either alternate them or draw 2 at once, like, and you actually have.
What you're saying is that you get to
it would always
choose
be like this.
from one card, one letter out of the 4.
Right.
I think that would make it too easy.
Vowel.
If you can't close out in 15 goes with having seen 60 letters, then
maybe.
I like the idea of alternating more. It's a faff to set up. But
you have to make then your first 5-letter word as quickly as you can. So
it's starting to get very complex for what should be a simple game.
I mean, it could be that you just say, okay, you play with 2 of the suits. No, wait, that's only 16 cards. No, 16 cards. Maybe you just choose 3 of the suits and you play with them, because that's going to reduce the distribution a little bit. Or maybe alternate the vowels and the consonants. I don't know.
Is there any reason we can't have wild cards? Even if it's just 2?
Well, having wild cards just seems too easy.
Yeah, but if everybody's got them, it's still a race, right? I mean, again, I get the point that it might make it too easy to close out to 15 in 15. But even if it was just 1 wild card, just so that when you hit that run, you've got the option of going, right, okay, I'm going to have a vowel, or to finish off your really difficult. Like there, I was waiting for 7 turns or something for an S.
Yeah.
I'd played a statistically decent hand and worked out some good words, but just because I couldn't get the last letter of my big word, I was stuck. So I want to say that having 1 wild card as a tactical option might be, even just 1 might be. I don't know.
And once you use it, you can't use it again. So it's always like.
Yeah, so it's exactly
do you use it early to get over a shortage of vowels, or do you save it for late in the game to close out your?
That could be a thing, like exactly 1 wild card, and then I would have finished very early with my N.
Yeah, we'd all have finished a lot earlier with even just 1 wild
use
card.
A wild card. As in, maybe your word has to be at least 2 letters long, something like that.
And you have to.
You can only use a wild card on a 3, 4, or 5.
Duchess suggests like random playing with a number of vowels, like randomly picking 2 or 3, and that's what you have. I'm not quite sure how that would work. So basically, the way the game works is you show cards 1 at a time, and
I think they mean at the start of the game, you just like randomly draw them and go, okay, in this game at any time you can use an A or an I, but you can't use O, U, or E.
But I thought they said consonants, though.
No, they said vowels.
Okay.
A certain number of vowels.
I think that's because that would still have some challenge to it. Because instead of saying you can just have a vowel whenever you like, if you could only have some vowels whenever you liked, because again, you can't use E is in itself actually quite a limitation.
Oh, what if you get 1 wild card, but it's not an actual wild card? Like you decide at the start of the game what letter your wild card is going to be.
No, because then you can still pick badly.
I want to have an S because it's really easy to.
Yeah, you always want an S. That's the only letter you want. I'm going to say you only want an S. Because if you pick an E and you get plenty of normal vowels, then your E is absolutely pointless. It's a common letter. If we have that situation where you didn't do that, and then you're screwed as everybody else. If I was allowed to pick one letter I could use before the game, it would always be S. There just wouldn't be a decision to be made. Because you're always going to be able to pluralize something to get you out of a hole.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I cannot conceive of another letter I would sub in. The vowels are common and therefore effectively worthless, except in the rare case where you have an appalling run of no vowels.
Maybe you have to pick a vowel, Alex suggests.
You're allowed to have a reserve vowel.
Oh, okay, you can only...
Your wildcard, I mean, on that basis, you could just say wildcards can only be vowel. Because then it stops you using the wildcard to just be an S and pluralize something easily. Yeah, you get one wildcard vowel per game.
And I think I would also say they have to be in words 3 or more, so you can't just use a wild card to make an I.
To make I, yeah. There must be at least.
I don't know, why not? If you're spending a word to get the wild card, then why not? Then you're spending 2 letters at least.
No, we haven't said you're spending the word. That's another idea Aquilus has put up. We haven't even encompassed that one yet.
Aqua's just do it. Stop, Aqua. I want to play the other game.
So I think that we've decided that there's definitely I think there definitely needs to be a bit more work done to it, because I think
we haven't done enough trials. We've played it twice, and we had one game which was very, very helpful letter distributions, and 2 or 3 players finished out immediately, and then we had a game where 4 exceptionally good, I flatter us, exceptionally good word game players, people who've been playing word games online using this deck of cards for 4 months, struggled to close out in 25 letters or less, and at one point actively encouraged the use of 3 different languages to see if they could do it in 23. And we struggled. So I think it's fair to say there's probably a statistical range there. I suspect we have 2 ends of a bell curve, and actually if we played more hands, we would find that most close out around the 18 to 20.
Some system to mitigate that lock to make it marginally more interesting.
Yeah, I think a wildcard vowel sounds like a good next iteration. If you wanted to play another time, you can wildcard a vowel once per game. And no, it can't be a 1-letter word. If you so wish. But, because it makes it easy. But I don't mind that. I actually honestly don't care if somebody wants to use I as their wild card to finish out because they've done their 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I mean, it's pretty
fair play to them.
It makes the rule easier to explain if you don't say it can't be less than it can't. There's certain lengths of word it has to be in. So
all of these games should be simple. You're racing to make a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-letter word in as few cards as possible. You get 1 wild card, which must be a vowel.
Okay.
And it's not going to happen often that someone uses it for 1.
No, and if they do, more power to them, because it means they've made the longer words using all of the day.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about this other game, which is NO-EVELL. NO-EVELL. It's a cooperative game wherein we have to make words, despite some major communication limitations. And for this one, we might not be able to involve the chat. Sorry about that, but I hope that it is entertaining.
The entertainment value will be raised accordingly.
Right.
We'll charge you less for this episode.
Yeah. There's the 100% discount on our normal fee.
I was going to only go 50%. So.
I mean, I will offer a buyback system. You know, I'll give you 150% of the value of what you.
Yes, take Andrew up on it.
Small print. No, this doesn't include your ISP service fee, the cost of your computer, the cost of your electricity, the cost of your being alive this morning, the cost of your food to ensure that. It is applicable against a value of only 0. That being the amount that you've all had to pay to, witness us sat here being silly on camera.
It is the £0 financial.
Yeah.
But
this may not be exchanged for any reward of equal value or otherwise.
So,
okay.
NO-EVELL. Maybe it makes sense while XATE is still here. We can try 1 round with 4 of us, because I know.
Oh yes, XATE becomes a pumpkin at 9 o'clock. I always forget.
9 o'clock. And then we can play maybe potentially a couple more rounds with the 3 of us.
Okay.
I'm actually always a pumpkin. At 9 o'clock, I turn into a real girl. So,
Now,
It's only a pity you disappear at 9 o'clock then. I mean, it's
so
a very well-educated pumpkin you've invited to this stream, Bez. Speaks
You
3
realize-
languages.
9 o'clock was an hour ago for me.
Oh, well, yes, shenanigans.
So the idea of this game is that everyone has their own deck, which I know that Andrew, Heather, and XATE all do have their own deck. So you need
It
to
can be an original Wibble deck. It doesn't have to be a...
it's just that you
I only
have
have the
some
original.
cards. You are allowed to show the cards in your
I'm a
hand
freak.
to other people,
Okay.
and other
If they
people
can
have to say which cards they want. We are going to be making as many words as we want during the course of the game. But if we
Do we
don't
only need
manage to
one
finish a
scribe?
word, it scores negative.
If we what? Sorry, say that
If
again.
we don't manage to finish a word, it scores negative. So here, it's, is, id, 3, no, and a would score, but everything else would be scoring negative.
That sheet is the epitome of that last game, Bez.
Yep.
No.
It
No!
No.
Rage!
Getting back to the topic. Go on.
We're serious
So-
people here doing
Can't be on
serious
topic
things.
too long. The stream will break.
1 letter words are 1 point, 2 letters words are 2 points, 3 letters 3 points, 4 letters are 5, and then it's the Fibonacci sequence. So basically, it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and 21 is the limit. So if
Tag-
you manage
is-
to
is
make
there
a
a-
7-letter word, we've done brilliantly.
This
Did
is
you-
a co-op, right? Is there a target
Yes, it's a co-op.
score?
Did any of you also learn the Fibonacci sequence from a parrot on a TV show for kids? Just wondering. Oh, sorry. Thought maybe Heather. It's a shared culture. Okay, never mind.
No, it's not.
The mathletes. No, okay, never mind. I'm a nerd.
I don't. I'm currently looking up the Fibonacci sequence. I'm not clear on what it is.
1, 1, 2, 3, squad.
Yeah.
I don't even know it at all. Let
Now, I
alone-
did preschool in America, so I learned the alphabet in your country and had to learn to pronounce the last letter correctly for a long time there afterwards.
Okay, so 21 is the
Aqua,
math.
stick in
Got
your
it.
cable.
Okay, so there's a 5-minute time limit. So this is a speed game.
Oh no.
We have our 3 cards in our hands. And
Okay, so you want us to draw cards.
I was about to say, so you want us to draw
Yeah,
3, is
so
that what you're
don't
telling
show
us?
them yet.
Okay.
And, like,
Not
I will
yet.
shuffle them. So
Are
that,
we allowed to look at them?
yeah, sure.
Okay. So we can look at our 3
But
cards, sure.
once the game starts, you can show them to other people. And I can do the 1, 2, 3, we begin. Once you've used one of your cards, once you've given one of these letters to someone else, then you'll put it down and you'll pick up a new card, if that makes sense.
Hang on.
Except,
So who has... Do we not have a communal list of words? Are we all trying to make separate words?
no, we've all got our own list of words.
Okay.
And yeah,
Where's
we can only use other people's cards, not our own.
Correct. You can only use other people's cards.
And so we're
Okay.
just going to have this crazy mishmash. Like sometimes the same card is going to come up more than once because we have different decks shuffled differently, right? And we're just fine
Yeah.
with
Yeah. I
Where's
mean,
the,
It's a
where's the
cooperative?
difficult bit?
it's cooperative, yes.
Okay.
So we're
How do we
trying
actually
to
help each other?
each other and say, "Oh, I want that," or so we
Trying to
ran.
see how we actually help each other, because surely we're just randomizing cards. You're just picking from a pool of other randomized.
Well, you kind of ask the other person for the cards, and it's about communicating who gets the.
I mean, are we
Um,
supposed to show?
Oh,
each other
okay.
the
So if
list?
I've got the only N and
You
you
are
all
not
want
allowed
an
to
N,
show your paper.
Okay.
You're allowed to show the cards, but not your paper.
Okay.
And
But
what-
one of us
where's-
isn't allowed to see anything.
I was about to say, where's the complicated bit? Because my brain's
Yeah,
already
so one
struggling, and this isn't
cannot-
even the
one
tricky
person
bit.
cannot see, one person
Mhm.
cannot hear, one
Mhm.
person cannot speak.
Can we see our own cards if we're the person that cannot see?
Oh, I assume
Yeah.
so.
What
yes.
does that person see? That's no. I would think they can't see anything. turn their cards to their
but
camera.
then they have to show their cards for the others to be able to.
Yeah, they can turn their cards to their camera and then turn off their screen so they don't see their own cards or anybody else.
No, it says that randomly pick one player to hide the video call, one player or two, if you have 4 players, to turn the volume all the way down, and one player to mute themselves.
Right.
So it's purely about the digital communication.
And we're not allowed to type, he says flippantly.
So this is not even designed to play in person. This is the rules are made for.
Yes, this is designed for online
play.
I kind of feel like the blind person shouldn't be able to see their own cards either, though, because otherwise it's just not really thematic.
Let's play it as
maybe a second round.
Well, they have to listen more carefully to the cards on offer, don't they?
Let's go in alphabetical order. So A, B, H, X.
Yep.
So one person.
So I can't see.
Hides the video call. So
okay,
Andrew,
so I'm turning my monitor off, and I'll just face.
I'll gesture wildly what we really think about Andrew.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So you guys can see these cards, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Okay. So the next.
Hang on. I'm just turning back because I need to get my deck and my pad and my paper because I've forgotten that I need to now be able to play.
The next 2 people turn the volume all the way down.
So you guys.
That's you and actually, can I suggest, Bez, you keep your volume on because you're hosting? Can I suggest the other 2 turn theirs down and that you're the one who can't speak? Because otherwise you can't tell if there's a problem with the stream.
That makes sense.
We can communicate if there's a problem with the stream. That's not a...
Why do you want to be the muted person?
I don't care, whatever. So what am I doing? I'm taking out my headphones?
Okay, you 2 turn your volumes off.
Right.
I'm just going to mute my volume.
Of course, now I can't hear what I'm supposed to do next. But,
Super awkward to speak without being able to hear. Yeah, because it's that whole, like, I'm not getting the feedback that I can tell you can hear.
No, and I can, although I... Well, Bez...
We are starting... Are you ready? 5.
They don't know if they're ready. Only I know that we're ready.
I'm going 5, 4, 3,
I feel like I should learn the rules of the game before taking out my headphones.
I can't see anything, so unless somebody says a letter, I can't pick a letter. And they can't hear me saying that, so the only person, it's only the person who can hear that knows.
Oh, okay, you can hear me. Right.
I can hear Heather. Bez.
So I could say, I want.
So me and Heather are the only people who can have a conversation. Just forget the letters for a minute. What's the logic on this? Me and Heather can converse.
You want an A, Bez? Okay. So Bez gets my A. Can I have Bez's N? Okay.
Are you the person that can figure everything out, basically, Heather? Because you can see
I feel like
and you
there
can
is
talk
no
to Bez.
way at all for me to interact with Andrew. Like,
I can hear you. Bez, can you make an affirmative noise that
turning away,
I can hear
turn
Heather?
off the monitor, but at least face us so we can see his face.
Okay, yeah, I kind of get the logic. I don't see there's a problem with that, yeah.
You're telling me... Yeah.
So, how does this help you? I mean, I can smile and nod and stuff like that, but I can do that with my voice. Oh, I suppose the guys who can't hear me can tell what I'm either or.
This is really confusing.
Who can hear me? Who can actually... Somebody confirm they can hear me. Nobody's confirming they can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, thanks, Bez. So let's establish who has communication with who. Just like as a diagram. Forget the actual letters for a moment. So I can hear Bez.
I'm not supposed to be able to hear Andrew. Y'all.
And Bez can talk back to me. So me and Bez can talk to each other. Is that correct,
But I
Bez?
also can't see Andrew's cards, and I think I'm supposed to be able
to the game, so this is kind of pointless.
Awesome.
I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
I think me and Bez can talk to each other, and Bez can see the others, right? Bez?
You would like an N. You would like my N? Sure. Can I have your O, Bez? Okay.
Oh, hang on. Is Bez the one who can't talk? So how am I meant to communicate at all?
Can I have your N? I can't talk to XATE, so yeah. Can I have your N, Bez? Or Andrew? I don't care.
Yes, you may have my N.
Okay.
No,
sweet.
Aqua, I don't think we did.
And
I have
then
no
can I
clue.
have Bez's E?
I'm beginning to think I can only donate letters because I can't affirmatively unless somebody reads.
Can I have your E?
I need somebody to read letters to me
Okay.
because I can't see.
Okay.
So somebody needs to mime. Whoever can hear me needs to
Anybody
mime.
but me or XATE to pay attention to what cards we can give them.
Could somebody whoever can hear me, and I forgot who it is.
The other way
Can
I
they
knew
get the
that
others
you
to
wanted
read
my
your
N if
letters?
You had an N to point to of your own. X.
I need people to read letters. I can't take any letters unless they're verbalized. So make a gesture. Somebody make a gesture.
How do I give it to you?
I don't know.
I've just realized you can see me. I need you all to talk about your letters.
Somebody talk. Me? Are you talking to me, Andrew? I have no idea. Okay. Oh, Beth wants to know. XATE has one.
I need to hear the letters. I need to hear letters.
We need like hand symbols for each human, like, you know, like the sign language for Beth and etc. You can't point to each other.
Can we agree and knock it off and just converse as to how we do this? Because I don't feel we're advancing the situation.
There's 40 seconds left.
Okay.
I don't understand the rules of the game. We never actually said them. I have no clue what's going on. This is not fun. I want to know the rules.
No. Call it a ball. Call it a ball.
Yeah,
Let's figure out what we can do here.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, let's just run the logic on this a moment. So the person that can't see, which was me, unless you all verbalize your letters, I am helpless. I need you periodically to say, I have these letters. So I need somebody who can talk to tell me what letters are available. Otherwise, I can't pick. I can respond to somebody who can talk telling me they want one of my letters, but that's it. That's all I can do. So the person who can't see can only respond to being talked to, and if we allow them to look towards the camera, they can nod and shake their head. And other than that, I'm trying to do the sign language for I need you three to talk about your letters.
I don't understand what we were doing. We never got to the part where we were saying, like, I got that I can't hear and he can't see and you can't talk, but why? What was the point of this? I didn't know what you wanted from me to. What were we doing with the cards?
We did cover it. It's simple, but it gets lost in the detail. All we have to do is make words. So somebody has to say, I want a letter to make a word. So when I'm holding... So if I'm holding these cards up, it's very simple. One of you who can see those cards simply has to say, can I have the eye, Andrew? To which I'll say, oh, sorry, yeah, the eye. And I'll go, yes, and put it down, and you've then got the eye.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to verbalize that to me as the person who can't see, because I can't otherwise. Yeah, it's again, I think the interesting thing before you even try playing the game is figure out the game theory on it, is how can information be passed. And
I think I should have asked more questions before we started, because I just got to the point where I couldn't hear anything and I wasn't allowed to put in my earphones to ask a question and get an answer.
Who could hear me?
I don't know what we're doing, and so
only Bez.
don't know what to do.
Only Bez could hear me, and Bez wasn't verbalizing a lot of what I was saying to anybody else. So I was talking into a vacuum.
I was not allowed to speak.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, Bez is making some signs at Heather, but that's not telling me the rules. I still don't know what to do. So
yeah, I'm not sure it even works, because if Bez is the only person who can hear me, and Bez can't communicate what I'm saying to the other player or players, it's a dead end. Because I can mime just as well as Bez can, so there's no point Bez miming what I'm saying. I can just mime my own thing. The only person who can hear me can't communicate what I'm saying to anybody else, so it's meaningless. And I can't. I mean, I say once everybody knows it, you just have a convention that says every 30 seconds or every minute, the players who can read their cards back. But then even then, I can only hear Heather's cards because Bez can't tell me Bez's cards. Although Heather can
Heather
read Bez's cards.
could say my cards.
Right.
Heather could
Yeah.
read me
Yeah.
every minute. Heather.
Sorry, if we could
Specific
let
people-
XATE speak.
Yes,
if it was
sorry.
maybe specific people trying to make the word each round, so maybe we have the same limitations for 3 rounds, but each round, like this time you have to make your word although you can't see them. Next round you have to make your word although you can't hear them. Next round you have to make your word, and then it just changes people each time. Because this was like, I didn't know, am I supposed to be writing a word? Am I supposed to be giving someone letters? Who am I supposed to be giving the letters to? How do I know what they need? Like,
yeah, and it was actually all of those. It was you're supposed to be writing and giving, but that probably is too much.
Too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
And in any case, if you haven't figured out the logic, XATE, I appreciate it has to go. Let's us 3 figure out the logic of how we can communicate, and then only once we've figured that out, try a trial round whereby, having agreed the mechanisms, we see if we can make them work. I think. So
it was lovely having you, XATE.
Yes. Thank you, XATE. Sorry that was frustrating. I think we found that all frustrating, but that was, it's going to take some work, this one. I think it could be interesting, but we'll see. We'll find out in a minute, I guess.
And we'll give it another try, but I hope to see you in the relatively near future, and have a wonderful evening.
All right. Bye, guys.
Enjoy the thing you do, which I forget what it is.
Bye, XATE.
Bye.
So, I think there's definitely something interesting here. I think that, do we want to try it as we were doing, and try to see if we can get everyone making words, or do you want to concentrate on keeping those restrictions and having one particular person making words?
I think one particular person making words. That sounds like a nice.
Well, let's not. I don't think even decide that yet. Let's just game theory out what the communication channels are, because it might be when we do that, it becomes obvious that only 1 or 2 people have the chance to make words.
I think anybody could make words.
I think so, but part of the problem we were having there is, theoretically, we're all very intelligent people and we could all figure it out. The problem was that once the game starts, you can't communicate to each other your idea of communicating.
So basically,
I can make up Morse code by myself, but if I have no way of passing Morse code to Heather, she can't ever expect to understand it. Whereas if we agree Morse code beforehand, then Morse code is a usable mechanism. So the mistake we made was that we didn't, as a group, have a solution to how to play the game. But if we adopt the same roles...
If we were to adopt the same rules, that's I'm muted,
so Bez can't talk,
and you are blinded.
I'm blind.
Virtually speaking. Then
and Heather can't hear.
I have to make words. Then at that point, it's only Heather and Andrew who are showing stuff, and I'm expressing desires, and then Heather is vocalizing those desires to Andrew, I guess. That's the way it would work for that game.
In fact, isn't Heather just in the pound seat? Isn't the person who's deaf at the massive advantage? Or it's easiest for them because they can see the cards of the other people and they can communicate to one visually and the other verbally what they want, and they can make as many words as they like. That's easy. It's the confirmation is slightly harder, but in fact the confirmation isn't even hard, because especially if you can see me, although I can't see you, I can nod or shake my head. But at the end of the day, I don't even need to do that because there's no reason to. It's a co-op game. There's no reason to deny your request. So logically, it's easy. The quickest solution is just for me and Bez to draw cards and Heather to just tell us which ones she wants. We never even.
We should just try it rather than try to map everything out and theory craft it. I feel
it's
like
just otherwise you end up frustrated and overlapping each other because you're interfering with each other's ability to communicate. Because you're blocking. There is an optimum channel of communication, which is the one we've just said, which is we both give things to Heather. If I attempt to talk,
and hear both of you. Or I mean, I can
like
see both of you and both hear me.
One with each different monkey, figuratively speaking, trying to make the words.
Yeah, I think that is definitely possible. That makes sense as an arc of a game, like that we go, monkey that can't see makes words for one round. Monkey that can't hear.
Okay, so you've got to do the easy version and that.
Yeah.
Okay, in which case, before we try it, how do you do that? So the monkey that can't hear, it's easy because they can communicate. They can communicate to both of the other monkeys visually or audibly the cards they want.
Yeah.
Now, okay, the person who can't
Well, I can
might have to
verbalize.
display their cards out.
Both of you can hear me, and I can see both of you.
Yeah, we
So
can both hear. I just can't see.
I just say what I want to. Both of you can get the instructions in the same way from me, and I can receive confirmation that you're giving it to me in the same way
visually.
for me.
So it's easy for the monkey that can't hear. How does the monkey that can't see do it? So they can't see anything, so they're entirely reliant on the monkey that can talk, verbalizing all of the available letters that belong to both them and the other partner.
Which is me again. Yeah, I'm the one who can talk to you.
Yes, you can't hear me saying anything back, but you can just read everything.
No, I can hear you, and you can hear me.
No, you're deaf, aren't you?
Oh yeah, you're right. I can see you, so it's like
so long as you know before the game's again. This is the before the game starts gig. Since you know before the game starts that the only way for it to work is for you to tell the blind monkey what you can see, because I can hear it. I'm not able to confirm it back to you. Although, how do I then communicate which letter I want? Because I can't point to anything because I can't see where they are on the screen. So I'm now reliant on. So the monkey that can't hear reads me a list of letters.
Which is what I was doing.
No, because I can't see a drawing. I can't see a drawing.
I can draw it out for.
I can't see anything you're drawing. I can't see.
Heather reads it out to you, Andrew. You draw it out with your finger.
Yeah. And we can both see
okay. Yeah, that sort of makes sense. Does the other monkey not have a role there? Is it not? So if Heather reads me a list and I hear that list, that's easy. So I now have 6 letters to pick from. The other monkey can't speak but can hear me. So I can say it's actually easier for me then to say, okay, I want the D, and Bez, because you two can see each other. Bez can then point to the D, because Bez can then see on your screen where the D is more easily. Rather than me, it might be. I suppose it's easy enough.
Andrew's video should be turned off only when we start the game.
Yeah.
I think that
either of those mechanisms work.
Try it with a shorter time limit, because 5 minutes was quite a bit. Yeah. And I know that.
How does the third monkey do it? Because again, it gets frustrating if we get into a round that we can't resolve because we're in the middle of a round. So we know how to do. Monkey that can't hear is easy. Monkey that can't see is reliant on hearing a list and then indicating either to the monkey that can hear a letter that they pass on.
It's easiest. I just mime what I want.
But I can't see you miming, Bez.
Heather tells you.
Right.
I mime. Heather speaks.
Okay, so actually being the monkey that can't see is by far the hardest, because you're reliant on information being passed to you and then you having to make a gesture that's then decoded reliably.
And it's really important that the monkey in my position takes care of the monkey that can't see.
Yeah.
And I didn't make that connection without talking about it in advance. So XATE and I both put Andrew in a.
Yes, I was in an impossible position because I was sending my frustration and giving ideas as to how it could be fixed, but the only person who could understand those ideas was the person who couldn't then easily communicate them onwards. Right. Hence, eventually I hit on trying to mime that I needed you to talk.
Yeah, and I saw your mimes, but they made no sense. I thought you were like telling me to shut up, and then that was like the exact.
No, that would have been.
Okay, shall we start with
2 minutes? No more than 2 minutes. Yeah. I can't decide if this is either a great game to encourage communication and reliance on each other, or an option to get people to punch each other in the head. I
can sense a lot of frustration from XATE because what everyone understands were using the words like free MELL or micro muckle, building upwards left to right.
Oh, that's how we're building them. At this point, I'll start getting some words.
When one of the cards is discarded, you
get new cards.
Get one of them, and yeah.
So Ben's gonna write words first.
So also, I'm going to write words. Heather is about to deafen themselves. Andrew, you're about to turn off your monitor.
Yeah. And who's the timekeeper? Just to be clear,
I will be the timekeeper. I will speak only at the start and end of the game.
Right. Yes, because you're not actually muted. You're just unable to speak for. Yeah. So yeah. And again, if there's a timer, I can't see them.
The end, I will make that noise, and you will hear the and I will speak at the end.
Okay. And we're starting with who's the monkey who's making words first?
Bez.
Me.
Bez. Okay, so the monkey that is muted is making words first, so they have to indicate to Heather, and Heather has to pass the request on. Got you. Kinda. Right, I'm turning off.
Well, first, Bez is going to tell us that she's counting down, and then we're starting, right?
Yeah. So
Oh, okay, yeah.
don't show your cards yet, Andrew.
Oh, okay, so I'll redraw 3 more. That's all right.
Should I be listening to you again? You're ready? You're ready. Okay.
Have we started?
2, 1. We're starting.
Okay, I'm sharing some cards.
So Andrew,
Yes.
looked up your cards.
Yes.
Bez would like your O.
Yes, I can
No,
give an O.
no, would not like your O.
I wouldn't. But the only decision they can make is affirmative. There's no.
Bez would like your G. Yes,
Right, okay.
definitely the G. That's the one Bez wants.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
This is hard. Now Bez would like your O. I think Bez would like my A. Bez would like Andrew's L. Andrew's L. Yes. Bez would like something of Andrew's I. Andrew's I, yes.
I apologize for the X and Z. There's nothing I can do about this.
Andrew's R. Well, maybe my R, so we get something different from me.
Okay,
my
yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Sure. My E. My E? Okay. Andrew's S. Andrew's T. Yes, that's right. My I? Okay. No, okay, we've got a lot of time left. Well, kind of. Minute. My N? Or, sure, why not mine? My N? My T. My O. B? B? Yeah, Andrew's B. Sure. No, my B? Okay. I don't see why it matters, but okay. Andrew's S. Andrew's S. Okay. O. My S? My S?
Okay.
My S.
That's the end. That's the end.
Okay. Hang on, I'm turning back on. Give me a second.
That's the
I'm
end.
back. Yeah. I just and Heather can hear us again.
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Excellent. That's interesting. Again, the optimum is in that situation is that the person who can't see also doesn't talk. There's no need. You just cycle cards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I made goalies, Robs, and Tints.
Okay.
Very nice.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boom. 21. Robs was 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5, and 8. So 13 plus 21 is 34.
Andrew January says, this works a lot better for figuring out the modes of communication, but I think you lose too much in the lack of crosstalk. And Andrew's basically doing nothing. Yeah, My feel is that there is an optimum way to do this as like a military command task or something. There's an
feels like
optimum
this
way
is
of
almost
transmitting
like
the information.
that we get now Heather to make stuff, and then we get Andrew to make stuff, and
maybe it would be more interesting if instead of doing it this way, like first we focus on Bez writing a word, and then within the same loop of time, then we focus on me writing a word.
But that means we have to communicate finishing the words.
But that would mean that I can only do one word at a time.
That's true.
I like the theoretical challenge.
Words at once.
Or what if it was we concentrate on Bez getting a letter, and then me getting a letter, and then Andrew getting a letter.
Again, more decision points, more comms of the decision point itself. It's like the best way to win the game is the way we're doing it, but it inevitably breaks down into two people are trying to communicate information and can be incredibly bored whilst doing so, and one person is just picking letters from a set of letters. They could deal 6 cards onto a table and have the same effect.
I would be interested to see Heather trying to be fair, Heather can talk, which is going to be incredibly easy.
That's what I've already said, is that Heather has the easiest job as the deaf monkey. She just has to communicate with us directly, verbally, and tell us which letters she wants. And then my job...
Andrew is super.
We all agreed that we should skip the Heather making words whilst no one else makes words.
Frankly, I don't think the game works. I've got to be honest, I don't think it works. It's an interesting thought experiment in how do you do it. That was the exciting part of the game, was given these constraints, what is the most efficient way of playing the game? And we've already identified that. We now know the solution for each monkey to get the letters they need to make words as quickly as possible. That's it. It's solved. That's the end of the entertainment. Anything else is a tedious process of sitting here for up to 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes with one of us doing repetitive tasks and the other one of us making words and the other one basically just shuffling cards. It's not a game. It's again, this would be a military command task par excellence. I would love to sit and watch cadets play this, because the aim would be to the communication skill, not playing a game. It's a logic test. It's not a game.
I mean,
or the game is figuring it out how to make
Andrew trying to get the stuff.
I think,
no, because I just listen to a list of letters. That's all I'm going to do, is I'm going to listen to a list of letters, write them down because I can't remember 6 letters easily, and then cross them off. Or no, I'm going to list 12 letters. Then I'm going to sit and pick one letter until verbally communicate which one I need replaced, and I'm going to repeat that for 2 minutes.
Actually, the more efficient thing to do would be for me to, Bez and I to be holding our stuff up.
We can't see.
And me to read it. Well, but so holding it up so we can, Bez and I can see what's going on.
Yes, Bez and you can each see your 12 letters, fine.
Yeah, and I
can't see them at this point.
And I can say like A, G, and when you hear one you like, you go, that one. You know what I mean?
Yes, but if I don't hear one that I like, I just have to wait till I've got 12. And then of course I don't know which other ones were available. It's better for me to collect all the information available to hear the full list of 12.
No, I don't think that's the most efficient way. I think you want to do what Heather's saying and just stop Heather.
No, because then I don't know what my other options are.
Boring. Well, yeah, but it would be a waste of time and boring for you.
The whole thing is that's my point. Is the optimum solution is the most boring. The optimum solution is to know all 12 letters, because I may well be able to make several words from just those 12 letters. And there's no point in me saying I really want to.
No, but remember, you're trying to get a 7-letter word. Making 7-letter words is the way to score. Because
in which case, I still want to know all the letters. I want to know the 12 that are available. Figure out if there's a 7-letter word there, and if not, replace only those letters that help me get it. It becomes draw poker.
With the 12 letters, you need to know.
Yeah, which ones are on which cards. You can't tell that.
7-letter words with 6 letters.
Yeah. No, lost interest. Sorry, bored. No intention of doing it. It's not a valid game concept. Or if it is, it's a game that's so stretched as to be enjoyable only by a very select group of people.
I can see how for Andrew, it's taking away the most interesting thing about the L deck. The combo, that this card is these 2 letters. And he can't
just arbitrary
easily see that.
And I can't even enjoy watching you two make fools of yourself trying to communicate stuff. I'm not even getting the enjoyment of the stream of watching the other people go. I'm literally sat here able to write on a pad of paper from a list of 12 letters, which I could have pulled out.
I mean, would you be up for trying it more with me being blinded?
No, because it's still just no. It's just not fun. It's no. Sorry, I just don't like the game. It's frustrating. It's doubly frustrating for anybody who struggles with letters and spelling and all this. I struggle with these things, playing them with all of my faculties and abilities, and with people being able to help me when necessary. I mean, obviously it's competitive, so I can't help get other people to spell, but I can use Collins Dictionary or whatever. Playing word games in a comms limited environment for a dyslexic person is the very definition of frustration, annoyance, and compounded by the fact that as a game theorist, I think it's redundant. I don't think there is it's literally how quickly the person the only challenge is you need somebody, whoever's is writing the words down has to be good at making words. And if they're good at making words and they happen to have drawn a decent 12 letters, then sure, they can do better. But that's back to luck. That's if there's... Yeah, I don't see a game. I genuinely don't see a game of all of the 4 months we've played, and without meaning anything. I love the concept. I love the theory. I love the challenge it presents. But the whole game is in figuring out how to beat the game. Once you figured it out, playing it's actually pretty...
I just shared something in private chat with... I don't think I can put anything in the public comments, so maybe you make it so people see it.
And someone mentioned Team Free earlier. I know this one that's done by Matt Fantastic.
Is this a similar concept, slightly different?
Yeah, but it has the person who can't see gets to feel shapes instead of
okay. They're not robbed of as many senses.
Yeah,
because Team Free is all about building stuff with weird Tetrisy things.
Right. When they're 3D.
Right.
Yeah. They're these 3D block shape things.
Yeah. So, this is played by the blind people.
Yeah, so the person who can see the card describes to the person, mimes to the person who's allowed to speak what the person who can't see should do.
Yes. It strikes me that for the concept to be valid, there has to be a way of everybody communicating with everybody else. You just have to get around the difficulty. Any system that relies on information effectively not being able to pass in certain directions breaks down to an efficiency of how you transmit through the middle person. Which I don't know.
I mean,
I kind of want to like it. I'm trying to think how you fix it.
Me and Andrew are only going to ever... Well, Andrew can communicate to me, but I can never...
Acknowledge. You can't acknowledge because I can't see you nod and I can't hear you speak. So I can pass information to you, but I have no way of confirming that you've ever received the message, understood the message, or that you've acted on the message. It's literally I'm sending into a void.
Unless I'm there to interpret, but I have to realize...
You have to interpret what Bez has done and pass a message back to me, which it does sort of work, but it's a very laborious process, and I don't think it's superseded by the methods we've already identified.
I think it's fine if we're, like, it works okay if we're focusing on only one person making the words, but when we were doing everybody at the same time...
that's a nightmare.
I was, like, just really confused, like, who I should be paying attention to when...
I couldn't even figure out who was actually which monkey at that point. I'd lost track of. Again, there was just, and again, dyslexic trying to make words as well. There was just too much mental. I eventually realized that Bez wasn't talking, so I assumed Bez was the one she couldn't talk. And then by extension, I then realized that you guys couldn't hear me. But then I realized that also there was nothing. Me talking was pointless because the only person who can hear me wasn't seeming to communicate to you guys because you weren't acting on anything I was saying. So I could figure out that my link to you through Bez was broken. Now, whether that was because Bez wasn't passing the information or you weren't understanding it was irrelevant. I couldn't figure that out. All I knew was I was making repeated attempts to communicate, I need you to read the damn cards. And that nobody was reading me cards. It's like, which was also frustrating because I figured that after 5 minutes, surely somebody's worked that out. Surely in 5 minutes, somebody's realized that I can't see and that the only way I can hear is to have the cards read to me. And for 5 minutes, nobody did it. And it's just like...
I think what you said about it being just sort of, it's a puzzle in how to communicate. And I saw somebody say in the comments, you all need to be really thinking about everybody else's situation more than your own. And so that was an interesting just life lesson. Like, oh, we really failed Andrew there. Okay, today I learned about myself.
Yeah. I think Genarium makes a good point there. I've expressed my views. I don't know if it's just because the monkey that can't see has the hardest job. I think it may be. So it may just be that I've had the hardest job there. But what do you guys think the difficulties for you as the monkeys you were? Because I think we've decided deaf isn't that difficult. Bez, how did you feel it was as the monkey that couldn't speak?
Well, I had to do miming, and miming is an interesting thing. I mean, yeah, for me, I hear what you say about once you're robbed of your sense to see, that robs you, especially when there's not something that, like, you don't get to tactile thing, but for me, I felt like I had this fun thing of how do I point at people, how do I, draw letters, and I was quite enjoying it. I would be definitely up for playing this again. I'm not going to force you, Andrew, because
no.
I understand you're really not wanting to play it. And
no, that's as I say, it's a hard pass for me. It's an exercise in frustration, both personally and I don't see the game in it.
Chimed in to say all they wanted was for someone to tell me the point. Do you mean like the point as in how we make words? I got the communication problems, but I didn't understand who I needed to be saying and why. And
I think that's telling to. And again, the risk there is I suppose if I was to put something on the box, if the game goes out,
that's
you
very
need
much
to talk about it.
We didn't maybe set it up clearly enough, if you know what I mean.
It feels like you need to talk, and again, I feel I was bob on with the people playing the game have to talk about how they're going to play the game before they try playing it, because otherwise it is just an absolute exercise in frustration.
I thought it was like it put me in a position of feeling uncomfortable, maybe in a way that's interesting but not exactly fun, because it is really I was kind of shocked into how uncomfortable it felt to mute my speaker while I was expected to be seen and heard by you, and I couldn't tell if you could. I didn't have like the normal kind of feedback when I'm on video calls. It made me feel really uncomfortable.
I think that's true too. And again, Genarium's comment valid up to a point, but as the person who can't see, and I can't, the very few people, and especially if the person who can talk isn't talking to me, my only option is to keep sending. And if somebody, and I'm well aware that I'm talkative, and I'm in fact well aware that people think sometimes that I'm too talkative, but put in that position, my only option is to talk. So I'm now having to do something that I know isn't necessarily ideal, and that may well be frustrating Bez who can hear me but can't do it. It feels like an exercise in like it feels like it's almost designed to trigger frustration, which in some level it is, and that's not fun. That's a challenge. As I say, that is a command task par excellence. Brilliant. The military will love it and implement it tomorrow, but it's not a game, in my view. And say, we need to understand. Everybody needs to understand the game very clearly before they start playing it for it to be. And not just on two levels. You need to understand what the collective aim is to make long words that become increasingly more valuable as we make them longer. So it's making long words, not lots of words, that's important. But also then, if you haven't got an established comms net as to how to do it, and then, as I say, once you've got that, you've actually beaten the game. At that point, it's just an arbitrary game of draw played for 3 2-minute, 3 3-minute, 3 5-minute. Compared to playing a game of 3 MELL in, 5 minutes and
I mean, I feel like I would be. I mean, it is very much an experience game. It's something where, honestly, I kind of felt this about Scene 3 as well, that I enjoyed the act of trying it out. It's something that I had a lot of fun with. It's not something where you're going to bring it out all the time, but having said that, neither is Yogi. That's not something that you're going to bust out at every opportunity, because, you know, I wanted to play in a bond last weekend and people are like, oh no, it's too hot, I'm not feeling up to being physical. Certainly any game has that restriction and target audience. And I think that any game which is about the restriction on communication, obviously you've got the mind, which is the obvious go-to example, where you're not allowed to talk at all. And that is purely all about the timing. When do you play your cards, and if you're house ruling that you're allowed to put certain cards down. And also, I guess in Abbey, you maybe develop some sort of groupthink or codification of things. And it feels to me like in Hanabi, developing that shared language is the game. And it feels like you want to have a vehicle for people to be initially frustrated, but then be able to overcome it. And
but I think it succeeds in that. But I think, as I say, I think the problem is once you've succeeded in it, you've also beaten it. That was the novelty value. Okay, as a logic puzzle, how do you make this work?
I don't feel like we necessarily overcame it. Like, I feel like even, okay, if we were to play the rules as initially presented to everyone, would it be that it makes more sense for just one person to constantly be asking for all the things? Maybe it makes sense basically just for Heather to be the only one making words, and for Heather to say, Bez is R, Andrew is D, because Heather is going to be the one who's able to communicate far faster than anyone else. So it might be that in the rules as initially presented, Heather is always going to be the one hoovering up things.
And I think that's why Heather suggested that we play where each monkey has to have a go, because it's obvious that Heather is the most able monkey. But
take a turn in having a letter.
But as I say, it's still then frustrating to do the others. And I think there's another interesting one here, which is the different groups you could play it with a really good group of friends who already know each other a lot in real life, and who I suppose are going to be more, you're not going to be as worried about annoying other people, or you're going to be more forgiving of other people screwing it up. I can see it being more playable in this sort of group where everybody only somewhat knows each other. I mean, we're all nice people and we aren't all going to jump on each other, but it did feel, as Heather said, very awkward when you're aware you're possibly winding each other up, but you can't. Again, I had no visual feedback. For all I know, you were both pulling your hair out at me, but I can't actually even see that.
In a public forum when we were playing it just
now.
Oh,
yes, and we're also doing it, and again, subject to critique from the chat, which is very valid as a game testing thing. I have no problem with people posting comments critiquing the way I've done it, or my feedback, because that's why we're doing this. That's why we play Tuesday Trials. Is alpha gaming and all that. That's all fair play. If people see it, they can call us out on it, and I like that. It's a very good system, but it's not necessarily reflective of how enjoyable the game would always be to play in private and with a group that are closer or even more distant. I don't know.
Scoring the worst person is an interesting idea. I'm not sure if it makes it sound like any more fun to me, though, because it's just more pressure on that worst person, and it almost makes it like pointless for me to take my turn.
Yeah, and then you've also got, again, you've got an added communication difficulty of who's currently worst off, which means there's now more time taken up trying to figure out who it is should be trying to play.
I almost feel like we would be saying, okay, if we're playing to worst off, okay, what goal are we trying to set ourselves? I managed to get 34 in 5 minutes. Let's say we are aiming for 21 each. That seems like an achievable goal within, and
maybe within a total time. It's going to take some monkey, like a total time would work, because the blind monkey is always going to take longer because they have to listen to a list. The deaf monkey can do it pretty quickly, but if you had a group time, collectively the group each must take a turn, and they must total a number of points.
Because the rules as presented was meant to be that everyone's trying to gather the letters all at once.
Which can't possibly work.
Because it was too much for us to handle.
Yeah, that was overwhelming.
And that people struggle with that. There are very strict rules on military comms nets where everybody can talk and hear, notice, or you assume most of the time they can. It does have rules for when people lose one or the other. But even in those situations, they rely religiously on people following the rules. You answer when it's your turn. So like if I call Bez and Heather, and I say, I am talking to all of you, confirm, Heather will never reply until she hears Bez or until she counts 10. So as soon as I say, can you all hear me? Heather starts counting 10 and waits for Bez to say something, and she will never say something quicker than that. And that way you can infer from extension what happens. So if after 10 seconds I get Heather saying, I can hear you, I now know that either Bez didn't hear me or that I can't hear Bez. I can then say to Heather, Heather, did you hear Bez? And when Heather comes back and says, no, Andrew, I did not, we know that Bez can either talk to neither of us or can't hear me. And at that point, even in that situation, the only situation in the real world then is you send a runner physically to Bez's location to go, can you hear us talking to you or can you not send? And you send them with batteries and a new radio. And that's the only way to solve the problem, is to physically intercede and break it. And that's when you've all got a common set of mediums. When you've got differing sets of mediums, I don't even know. I don't even know. There must be a solution for each problem, but it's understanding what the current problem is and then communicating it is, and who has priority to communicate is impossible.
I get that this is something very similar to training that you've had in the past. For me, because it's exercising a new skill, could we go around and starting with something that we liked about the game, starting with Andrew?
I like the conceptual challenge at the start. There needs to be some way to turn it into a game beyond fixing that challenge.
Heather?
That it used the, it creatively used the medium or the limitations of the medium that we're playing over. I thought that was a fascinating idea. I think the word game, the fact that we're trying to play a word game with these restraints is what is kind of causing a lot of the problem.
Because some people have trouble. Whereas looking at Team 3, I mean, sorry to keep going back to Team 3. And the thing about Team 3, it doesn't really have a hear no evil monkey. It has a blind monkey. It has a mute monkey. But the hear no evil monkey is just like the first monkey who reads out the instruction, and then
they're not allowed to use their hands. They're the
the hear no evil is the one in the middle.
Yeah, well, the one, well, maybe actually,
because the first one's the one who can't.
The first one might be the first one. Oh yeah.
First one can't speak. They have to express the stuff visually via mime. The second one translates the mime into vocalizing it.
Yeah, so they can hear, but they're not receiving the instructions by hearing. They're receiving by seeing. They just don't need to plug their ears because.
I mean, it's not that they can't hear; it's just that they can't. That hearing is not involved.
Yeah, it's a not necessary skill rather than a blocked skill.
Yes.
I just had one idea, and I don't know if it would work. Instead of spelling words you don't know what the other people are spelling, what if we were trying to spell the word monkey? And I could pick any word; it could be Constantinople, but let's say monkey, based on we're all holding these cards. Then it becomes potentially more interesting because you know what you've got, and some of you know what the others have got. And then I feel like that's a more condensed puzzle of, okay, once you realize that you've got one of the letters, you need to figure out how to offer it to the group. And once, or if you are in the position you can see somebody's got it, you have to figure out how to communicate to them that you need it. But it's time limited. The goal is limited. You've only got to figure out how to transfer 6 letters. And also, crucially, you all have a common goal, and you know what the common goal is. Now, the one that can't hear might not realize that you're now on N, but then again, the one that is writing them down, or anybody who's writing them down, can hold up a pad of paper going, I've got M and O, and then they can realize, okay, we're trying now to get an N. Do I have an N? That almost feels like it could be playable to my mind.
You're almost like sort of mashing up letter jam in there.
Yeah.
By having like, because in that game, your word is assigned to you in advance by the person sitting next to you, and your trying to figure out what your word is. It gets mixed up though.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's where the challenge is made in that game. But in this game, the challenge would be the communication stream. Potentially each person could have their own word they're trying to make, and your goal is for everybody to get to make their word. And maybe everybody makes up their own 6-letter word for themselves. And that's maybe even the difficulty level. Like everybody makes up their own 5-letter word for themselves, a certain difficulty letter. And that's how it works with Letter Jam too.
I suppose the confusion will be over a popular vowel, because again, if you're all trying to do a separate word, you've got to communicate that I want the E, not that I'm trying to give you the E, and then people misunderstood who had the E. I think if it's one common word, the worst case is that somebody loses track of where they are in the word. But even then, it should become obvious when other people start to communicate the next letters. Now, what you do with dead letters, I don't know. Presumably, you would just have to have some sort of draw mechanic that if you all get stuck, then somehow you communicate, draw a card, change a card. But I don't see that as a problem, actually, because if I offer you 3 cards, 3 letters, and none of them help with monkey...
there's definitely lots of other ways it could go, but we could do... Firstly... Heather, had you said something that you liked about it?
That it thought about the medium of video chat and was creative about that.
Like turning off the thing, and certainly not being able to hear is a thing that's easy to do via this medium that you can't do in real life.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it's inclusive for people who have that disability, right? There is that. It is a game that could very much involve somebody who couldn't see or couldn't hear, and they could play the game equally as abled, if not more so, because they're used to it. So it's inclusive by default. I don't know, is that actually a bad thing? I'm not sure.
I don't know if that's true, though, because the only way we actually played it was to discuss in advance what to do.
Yes.
So we could turn on and off our disability.
But certainly someone who is already blind, like completely visually impaired, would be able to play as the blind monkey, and XATE does point out that holding the cards up to the screen was hard for them.
Yeah,
I think that was hard. Various people, because I couldn't see it, but various people, when we did it, even with the screens live, were holding up cards in a way that was hard to see. But again, you can't easily communicate that to them, so it just becomes another hindrance to play. Well, I know what you've got, but I can't see your 3rd card, so I need you to...
Like, it's physically hard to hold these in a way you
3
can
cards is
letters.
I mean, actually,
I can hold 2 pretty easily in a way that you can see them all.
It's not too bad with these cards once you figure it. Again, once you know how to do it, that's how you do it. But I initially, again, to make it clear, because I now know roughly where my camera was, I was doing a spray. But actually, the far easier way to hold the old deck cards to show 6-letter is that.
My deck doesn't have. I have the print and play, and my deck.
You have the print and play.
It only has the numbers.
Shoot! Sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot lost that functionality for that version.
And when you're the blind monkey, you can't I was reliant on the fact that you guys could see my cards. Now I had calibrated it. I'd realized I was going to have that problem. But
pinching them in the middle is a lot easier if we were talking about accessibility.
If you only have 2 cards, yeah.
I mean, the thing I liked about it is that it is novel. It's definitely an interesting concept. I like the idea that it's trying to play with someone being muted and being deafened, because being deafened you can't really do in real life. So it's like, okay, let's explore this thing that we can't have in real life. I think, basically what Heather and Andrew said, I think all of us like it from a conceptual point of view. And Andrew, you've said quite a bit already. So if you could say one thing, if you had to limit it to one thing.
There's no game. That's the fundamental thing, is there's no source of fun.
For Andrew.
Yeah, for me. Yeah, granted, somebody else may find something very different fun. But yes, I didn't find a fun in there anywhere.
There wasn't like a spark. There wasn't like an aha moment that made you feel...
Oh no, there was no aha moment. This is how you solve the problem, but it's a one-off, and then you've done it. As I say, then that's it. That was the end of my interest in the game as written. Oh, I now know how the deaf monkey communicates. The deaf monkey has it very easy. That's the way the deaf monkey does it. Great, I've solved the logic puzzle. Put it on my shelf, never play it again.
Right. There wasn't an aha moment in the process of playing it. There was just an aha moment about it.
About it, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, good logic puzzle. If it was written as a logic puzzle, I'd say it was a great logic puzzle. If it's written as a game, it needs fun. It needs, for me, it would need fun. As I say, I in no way invalidate that other people may find it fun. If other people find it fun, more power to them. They are entitled to play it. But I feel it could be made more fun. Even for people who already find it fun, I feel that it needs development to add to fun, is my feel. Yeah. And actually, if we could find how to add the fun, I am prepared to have another crack at it. But just to solve the logic puzzle over and over again, taking 6 minutes ago, nah.
Heather, final thoughts?
I think that if you were to test it again, the next thing that seems worth testing is to start with a goal word that is made somehow, or maybe a set of goal words. I could see maybe.
Wait, so that would be us kind of discarding cards in order, kind of Hanabi style?
I don't know.
Discard the cards, the letters monkey, for example, in that order.
Yeah, monkey in that order. Maybe like a set size of word, and then you decide just straight from your brain. Like, let me think of a 6-letter word that I think should be pretty easy for us to do. Or you could say, okay, everybody draw not 6 cards, but like 10 cards maybe. And with those 10 cards, that's like a little solo game that you play before you play the real game. With those 10 cards, make a word. That's your goal word. Now shuffle those into your deck and start playing. And maybe you tell people, and maybe you don't tell people that that's your goal word. I don't know.
I think people have to know, because they ultimately want them to cooperate.
This feels like it would require, devolve into other people saying, "Oh, you've got that letter. I know that the next letter is for this." And
what if we were trying to spell our own names? I mean, it could be any words, but hypothetically, I mean, interestingly, just here, because Bez needs the Z, so when the Z is found, Bez has to communicate to us that she needs the Z.
Well, but we'll have
you know that,
names.
so you would instantly know. I mean, that's
what I'm thinking. Because it's co-op in nature. There would be certain things we'd pick up. So the E's are all, anybody can have an E, right? If you've got an E and you need it, you may as well take it. But an H obviously goes to Heather, a W goes to me, a Z goes to Bez. I don't know. There's something there that makes me think, oh, I wonder if that, because everybody knows each other's names. And again, in terms of a group getting to know each other, it's a good excuse to get to know people's names, right?
You can only say it once, but yeah.
Yeah, again, is it self-limited? Yeah, perhaps.
Well, maybe it could be very unlike usual games. As far any game that I've ever played with the L deck, you really have to go in order, but maybe you don't have to go in order to make it a little like you have a goal word in advance, but you don't have to write it in order. You just have to collect.
Oh, okay, collect the set. So Bez has to get a Z, a B, an E, and a B. Yeah. Well, again, that would make it too easy for Bez. If that was competitive, but again, if it's co-op, the idea is simply to distribute everybody the correct cards.
Yeah.
I mean, it does feel like the game that you're talking about is again, just the deafened player saying, hey, this is a good card for Bez. Okay, Bez should take that. And the deafened player in that game should be able to run literally all the logic because there's full open information. Heather would know what hand rounds I have taken. If I've already taken an E, Heather could even write that.
Yeah. The deafened monkey is always powerful, unless we fundamentally change it somehow. The deafened monkey is always again, that stacks in other bits of theory I've learned. Again, even if you don't know people are listening to your orders, if you know that they will be followed if received, you can still issue rational orders to other people. You don't necessarily know that they're all executing them, but you know that even if somebody misses one of them, that they'll figure out the inference from the people around them. But the person who can't hear is always helpless.
I can tell you're executing though, because I can actually see you as well. Well, yeah, I know you can hear me and I can see you. What I'm saying is we write a word and we don't tell each other what it is. We each have our own personal goal word. We don't tell each other what it is, and maybe we don't have to spell it in order to make it a little bit easier.
It's like 7 letters.
Yeah.
Are we still co-op though?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we just don't have perfect information of each other's words. So
you have to communicate to the other. It still becomes a game where the monkey who has the hardest job communicating has to, because again, if I'm blind, I still ultimately have to, again, somebody at some point has to start reading letters out so that I can start picking up letters. And if they don't do that, I'm helpless. And I can only easily communicate to one of you that I need you to do that. And all I'm going to sit there is going, repeat, keep doing it, keep doing it.
But you no longer need to know what all those 12 letters are. You just need to listen for the one you care about. I start reading them off and you go, M, give me that one.
Okay, yeah. There's an N, there's a D, I'll take those. Yeah. But even so, eventually, if you don't give me enough letters, all I can do is sit here going, give me more letters, give me more letters, give me more letters, give me... I can see it being reductive and again, I can see...
My concern about having a word set at the beginning is like, what if we don't get the cards we need?
Yeah.
But that's why we would skip around. Like, okay, you're at a dead end. That none of those sound interesting to you. Okay, so what does Bez need now?
Well, surely we would, with the 7 let, if we invent a 7 letter, we'd be doing something like trainer, or something that uses only the common letters.
Heather isn't too bad. It's some vowels, an R, T, an A.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would. I want to say, and again, it may be my bias because I was it. I would also apologies to anyone who has found this frustrating. We've chosen to play a very difficult game designed to engender frustration of the year in the UK, which perhaps wasn't. That's just what we did. If you played it as a 4 and you don't have any blind monkeys, what if you just had 2 pairs, one of whom is mute and one of whom is deaf? Because then you can sign to your partner. If me and Heather were partners, we can between us figure out whatever gibberish we want to give, and then it's fun because you're playing with your partner. Me and Heather are now trying to figure out between us how to communicate just with each other so that we can pass the information around. Nobody's ever cut out the loop. You can still have a clash between the 2 talking monkeys, but because there's only 2 talking monkeys, they can figure out very quickly that they're talking over each other, and then one of them shuts up so that the other can say one of you sends, then the other sends. I don't know whether that could be more entertaining, and it makes
that version works in real life, but the deafened monkey...
It's hard to deafen yourself in real life. Like, you can't, unless you have really good noise-canceling headphones, which are expensive. And actually, that seems worth testing too. To me, is no blind monkey, just an even number of people participating, some that are muted and some that are deafened.
And then pair up. I mean, you don't even necessarily have to pair up, but it strikes me that if you chose to, then there's some. And again, it strikes me again, there's some fun to be had there because it's just funny having a partner. At least then you both understand you're trying to communicate to each other, so it becomes
visual information that you're losing by being blinded.
You could say that there is sort of still the blind monkey if you were doing the thing where you do say a word. Well, just the fact that we can't see each other's cards, whatever we're doing here, the fact that we can't see that of each other, that's the blind monkey aspect. That this stays hidden, but then these are always visible.
Yes, and it's a pity you can't selectively blind somebody that way. But yes, if the blind monkey can at least see the other player. I mean, could the blind monkey simply... No, because as soon as you hold your cards up for somebody else, I can see them. Again, if you had... This is getting into levels of equipment you're obviously not going to have, but if there was some way that the others could show their... Oh, I suppose they could put them in the private chat. No, still too complicated. Yeah, if all the blind monkey couldn't see is the letters, that would make it more playable, because at least then you'd be able to visually interface, okay, they're trying to tell me something. And, or as I say, just from the social aspect, okay, they're getting upset, I need to shut up or change what we're doing or we need to stop. You know? But as I say, absent that feedback, you just sat there going,
Heather, with the version of rules as initially stated, do you think that there's any fun to be had there?
It seems mostly just, I mean, if the rules are as stated are just like, here's the structure, go. You're all limited in the ways that you're limited, figure it out. That seems like a recipe for unhappiness. Like I wouldn't want to unleash it on a group of people that I was hosting a party for or whatever.
We had to go at it in good faith. And
if you could,
XATE was frustrated. She had to go anyway, but XATE was extremely frustrated. I was frustrated, but then gave my feedback, but was frustrated in doing so.
I'm sorry, Andrew, if you could give a bit more space to Heather.
Yeah, so.
I think I was done. Was there something else you were asked? Did I not fully answer the question?
I thought you had, but Bez may have not.
Oh no, yeah, basically just if you would play it yourself.
Yeah, I did. As far as I can tell how it's written, no. Of course, I'm not the one who actually read the rule book. You read the rule book and then you taught it to us, so there might have been a bit of a translation, something lost in translation from what they intended you to tell us and what you told us. But if you can't sort of puzzle it out together and make a strategy without your handicaps, I think it's very likely to be frustrating in an unfunny way because we're not to. I think this is the thing about it. Another thing about Team 3 is that when you play it, you're together. You are together. You know what I mean? You're getting that warm fuzzy of actually physically being together. And what we're doing right now is like good enough, and it's nice because you're on the other side of the ocean and we can hang out together because of this, but it's really not the same as being together. We already have this kind of like uncomfortable barrier between us. The fact that we're having to video chat, and then you add these restrictions and it's even more like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I see what you mean. Like when you're starting from a point of view of we are in a comfortable room, we are enjoying each other's company, then to take some restrictions, it feels okay, you're still enjoying time together, but once you go from being on video chats with each other, where, yeah, we're enjoying each other's company, but there's still that tension, then to bottle it up even more, you felt like, it just turned it into an unpleasant experience where you were I guess for Andrew, it was like, well, I can't see anyone, and for you, everyone was losing, like, you two were losing half your senses. Whereas I was, at least, even if I wasn't able to express myself, I was able to hear and see and enjoy that part of it.
Right. Yeah, so for you, it was probably more entertaining. And that's what, like, Team 3 is entertaining. Like, it's going poorly, but in a funny way, somehow. Probably because they're physically together. And yeah, you can at least all hear each other. You can hear, like if your eyes are closed and you're groping around, you can hear everybody laughing about the situation.
Yeah.
You're not left kind of uncertain, like, ooh, is somebody mad at me right now and I'm doing something wrong?
Yeah. The situation becomes funny. There's a limit, there's a level at which it's funny and a level at which it's frustrating.
I noticed we are talking a lot about Team 3. And I mean, I'm not saying that this game should be like Team 3 necessarily, because it would be good if it's its own thing, but definitely a design thing that we can learn from Team 3 is that when you've got these extra restrictions, the actual goal has to then be very simple. So if we didn't have these restrictions, if it was just, okay, let's all make the words as quickly as we can from our cards. As written, there is no target score. there's no, it's just to beat what's the best score you can get sort of game. And so there's no clear, so for that, arguably, it's always, although having said that, Team 3 is also that kind of thing. It's just, what's if I see the goal of this as making a 7-letter word, because 21 points versus 13, let's be honest, it's clear that this game is saying to me, hey, you really want to make a 7-letter word. Making a 7-letter word for me is not that difficult. I've played with DL a lot of word games over the past 5 and a bit years.
And the deck's balance to encourage the making of long words because it's got the right weightings of letters.
Yeah. But for someone who is coming from it, it does make it a very inaccessible thing. And
I did just have one idea on how the blind monkey could work better while still vaguely preserving it. Don't actually blind the blind monkey. The blind monkey simply can't nominate letters. You all hold up your letters. I hold up my letters. I can see what your letters are, but I can see Heather's got an S, but I can't actually say I want that S until somebody offers it to me. And then I still have all the feedback of the interaction and the social stuff.
Wouldn't that just be boring for you? Because
it would be a lot less boring.
You need Heather to basically talk through all the cards.
Yes, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same for the blind monkey, only they're not socially isolated to the point that they don't have a clue what's going on. They can see that I can see you've received my message. So if I say, Bez, can you hear me? And you're deaf and you're mute. I say, Bez, can you hear me? Yeah, you nod, and I can now receive that, and I have now affirmed that the game is functioning, that you are participating, and
I think that is a fair point, because there are sometimes technical issues,
and yes, that's on top.
Starting from in real life, where okay, you know exactly how a blindfold works, you know exactly how not being able to talk works. That's a choice that you've made, and you know that no one's going to glitch in real life.
Yes, or that if they do it so obviously that people go, oh, they need first aid. Yes. You see how they're choking in the dip? We should probably stop a moment and deal with that problem.
Right.
But yeah, I wonder if that could work, because then, again, effectively the blind monkey is blind to the cards. They can't pick a card that isn't offered to them. And as you say, the solution is exactly the same as we've already identified. Somebody must say to the blind monkey, I've got an S, would you like it, blind monkey? Yes, actually, I would love that S, thanks. And in fact, the blind monkey, I mean, I suppose technically it can be subverted to some extent. I could say, I would like an S. And perhaps actually I should have said that earlier, I don't know. But then again, you can't communicate that easily to Heather, because I suppose you could write it on a pad of paper and hold it up. I don't know.
Well, she was writing them to us.
Right. Okay. So at least I could say to Bez, I'd like an. I suppose I can cheat a bit because I can see there is an S there, and then
there is. I don't know if it's all the same for you guys, but we have sign language. Do you know what I was doing there? Or is that
some of them? We have British Sign Language, which I suspect is subtly different, but yeah, some of them are common.
ASL and BSL are quite different.
I think this is S. But
yeah,
anyway.
I don't know the individual letters well enough. I know more the common yes, nos, things like that. I mean, again, that's an interesting. That's like the knowing another language. If the players know sign language, then yes, they have a new medium.
Alphabet's the same internationally.
Okay.
Is it interesting? Okay, but again, if you don't know sign language, that doesn't help you. And indeed, if you don't both know sign language, it doesn't help you. Again, as Ben says, I can just draw S on the screen. Yeah.
It's almost like cheating, though, because it's available to you. I wouldn't know if I would feel comfortable doing it, or if
that's the line. Is where are you cheating?
Language to describe letters, that feels a bit.
Is that cheating? I've written the letter T and held it up. You guys, I can't, again, if I'm blind technically by the original playing, I can't tell you've seen it, but I can certainly write down the letter T, and Bez can go, oh, I want a T. Oh, Heather's got a T. Heather, tell Andrew to have his T.
Right.
It feels like we're almost trying to cheat the system into working rather than actually playing it within the rules.
It's worth drawing a line under this. It feels like it is definitely an interesting concept. And the fact that we've spent so long talking about it, I mean, the fact that we finished playing basically an hour ago. We've just basically been talking about it for this long. Clearly, it's something that it speaks to primal nature in all of us. I would have been happy to play it again for the record. I think I would have been very interested to try it in all the formats. I would overall agree that it does need some possibly fundamental structural changes. I'm not sure exactly what, but
now we've had the chance to talk through it, I'd be more willing to test it again on the understanding that that is precisely what we're doing. We're testing, and that and that we all accept there's no judgment of each other as players and everything. We're testing strictly the concept. How does it work? Can we make it work? I think probably what we lost track of to some extent was that it was a Tuesday trial, and that we got we variously got frustrated or not at it because we were trying to do it rather than accepting that it was a trial and going, yeah, okay, it's broken because it's a trial game. Sure, that's gonna happen.
Something that can be hard with any kind of playtest. Anytime you're playtesting a game, you shouldn't really care that much whether you. In fact, anytime you play a game, I guess is sort of philosophical. I don't think you should care that much and like feel bad about yourself because you're not doing well. But there was something about this that made people feel bad about themselves, because I'm so bad at pronouncing the beginning of XATE's name. Sorry, I'm really trying. I can't do it though. But the reason I think she said she felt like an idiot, which is like a mean name to call yourself. And for a game to end up making someone feel bad about themselves is not a good. And the fact that came out of the play is useful information about the game, because when people are playing,
it was a very valid play test. We experienced some strong emotional reactions to the rules as stated. One of us was frustrated. One of us was mildly upset. One of us didn't see as much of a problem, but that may have been roll. And then one of you, Heather, had realised, okay, I can do a lot of the work here, but that doesn't help the others. I think the other problem is it even worse. It cuts you both ways, because you feel like an idiot, and at the same time you're getting frustrated at other people because I'm thinking, for God's sake, somebody read the dang cards. Can't you figure out that I can't see? Like, this is obvious. If you don't read, I can't play. So you're getting frustrated at your friends, and at the same time you're feeling like an idiot because you're not helping, because I'm doing my damnedest to communicate. I need you to read the cards at me. So you're getting frustrated at other people whilst feeling an idiot, and that's very complex to manage emotionally, because you're not having a positive interaction with either yourself or your other people.
Yeah, and what's the whole point of a game other than that? We
should have just played it with 3 players and had a moderator there to pull the plug or smooth under clip arts. Yes, as a playtest, I think that's a brilliant idea. Yes, have somebody outside looking in who can identify the fact that Andrew is quite clearly trying to communicate to you that he needs you to read the cards. And they can interject that because it will advance the playtest. Yes, Andrew needs to hear letters, and once that clicks in, Andrew can now hear letters, which means he can now communicate to Bez something useful. I would like a letter, rather than just sending Bez ideas as to how we can advance the situation. I think that's a really good idea. Play it again with 4 people, 3 players each fulfilling a role, and then a 4th player who can interject and manage or call a halt if it becomes reductive. You're going round a loop. You're not going to figure out the problem. You've got the O and you can't understand that you've got the O.
I just also realized that probably just now, this is so interesting to realize how easy it is to get really focused on your own perspective. But probably while we were playing, since I couldn't hear anybody and XATE couldn't hear anybody, we were probably talking over each other like horribly.
Oh, you were? Yeah, at times. Which was what clued me into the fact, reminded me routine after a while, started reminding me that you guys couldn't hear, was the fact that you were quite clearly unable to hear either each other or respond to me.
Right.
So these guys are talking, but it's not helping because there's no input of information. And the one thing you could do, which was read me letters, you weren't doing. You were communicating irrelevant information, which wasn't related to the information I was passing best. And then there was the added conversation going on, which was, what are we doing? How do we cope? What's going on? Which is funny up to a point, but at the same time, it's like, well, that's not going to help us solve the game. It's just obvious, I think now we're aware of the problems with it. I think a moderated attempt to modify its rules and replay it could be fascinating. As long as we do it with the open-minded, that didn't work. We tried an idea and it just doesn't work. Can that and try the next one.
I mean, the other thing to maybe potentially learn again from Team 3, though, and I'm not exactly sure what to do with this, but I've been thinking a lot. Team 3 is a path. Like, this person has the card. Their job is to say this to that person or to mime this to that person. That person's job is to pay attention to what they're miming and explain it verbally to that person. So there's like a path.
Like
it's a line, not a circle.
I feel like the design goal behind this might be me reading too much into the designer's intent, but I think their intention was for there to be a lot of talking over each other and for that to actually be part of the chaos, rather than having a clear, okay, A goes to B, B goes to C, and person C does the thing. I think they were hoping for there to be a lot of...
So sorry, that was are you guys still there?
Yep.
Yes.
We're there.
Okay, sorry, I glitched there. I wasn't. I thought people had stopped. Everybody had stopped. Yes, I agree, Bez. I think, and I think they wrote a great system for causing chaos. In as far as and objectively, as I say, as a puzzle to figure it out is interesting. But ultimately, what you realise is that the best way to solve the problem is not to have the chaos, is to establish a rigid system to eliminate that chaos to get the best score. So it's a funny experience briefly, but then it's not the way to win.
I'm personally really uncomfortable with the game if that is the plan. Like, if that is the plan, I don't want to play the game either, because I think that, again, well, in real life or in video chat, both, being spoken over is something that is like harmful to people. It can make them feel really disrespected. And like, I know for myself, like, my husband really struggles to interject himself into conversations. Even though he totally has something useful to say, he diminishes him. Like, he presses himself down and assumes that nobody wants to hear it because everybody else is talking, right? So that I would never want to subject him to this experience, because it would be, just really triggering for him.
Yeah.
And then
I have, you go, case in point.
Yeah.
You carry on.
And in these kind of situations, it's really easy to accidentally talk over each other. And I don't think I'd be wanting to encourage more of that over voice or video chat online.
The slight lag in vocal and the slight disconnect, because you often get the slightest lag between not even just the signal, but the two signals. So I can see you start to speak just before you actually hear you, or vice versa. As somebody who I do speak fast, and I freely admit I do sometimes cut across people, it makes that much worse, because I'm led into it. I think, there's an opening and it wasn't one, and I've gone into it and now I have to stop and start, and it gets awkward. And sometimes also there's a sort of very strange right of way system with voice chat, which is once you've started speaking, you almost might as well finish, because people have now realized you're talking, they're getting half a second's lag, so you're better off saying your piece. And then when there's a pause, it's awkward enough already, as you say, without artificially trying to add to that chaos.
Yeah.
And again, triggering, because
let's so I think there's an invitation for the designer to potentially kind of clarify their intent and propose a modified set of rules that might give a go. There is another wider question which was always in my mind, which was, should a game which is only possible to play via online chat be a potential contender for a headline game? Because whilst there's a lot of games that are possible to play via online chat and even became created because of online chat, I've played Mini Muckle a few times with my housemate, and it's a lot nicer in person, because I think those games are. But I don't know, it's a difficult one.
The other one I found interesting is we all need a deck. There's some part of my brain rebels against that, because for me, a game you can play in any circumstances. Hey, I've got a cool game. Here it is. Let's play it. Whereas a game that you all have to have coordinated.
I'm not as fussed about that, because Mickle and Muckle, everyone needs a deck. Because
True.
that one, it's a true multiplayer solitaire game where, like number 9, everyone needs their own sets of pieces, which these pieces just happen to be 48 pairs of letters. Everyone draws them in the same order and tries to make a bunch of words. The rules are a bit more complex than any of the mini-Mickle or micro-Mickles that you've played, Heather, but it works well enough in real life that I genuinely didn't plan for it to be that way. I just thought, okay, maybe people have decks anyway. And someone, when I demoed it, I think it was last year or the year before, I sold about 9 decks to 2 people.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh yeah, this is a really good game. I could totally see myself playing this with my family. And if you're willing to do me a small discount on 5 decks, sure, I'll buy 5 decks. Because that, and I would like to have, tiny little decks to have, okay, if there is a game.
This is a print and play.
Yeah, exactly. You can do.
Yeah, people always have the option of buying the core product and then running off extra print and plays.
Yeah,
I have to admit, Bez, I'd forgotten there were games in the system that did require you to own multiple decks. My oversight there.
But I think that it's definitely interesting, the fact that we're still talking about it, and that I feel like this conversation could carry on for another hour or so. About
we should do that next week when we play it next week and add more grist to the mill in a managed and fun and understand what all the rules. I think the key things are understand all the rules to start with, so that nobody is unclear as to what the game is. Allow enough time for people to discuss strategy, so that everybody's comfortable with how we're going to have a go at it. Have a go at it, and then ideally, have a moderator to sort of keep time and also just point out when it's broken. Okay, this set of rules, this tweak we've made has actually broken it. There is now obviously a disconnect between these 2 players that they cannot easily resolve, or even if they can theoretically resolve it, they've made no progress towards it in a minute. So we'll call a cut and figure out how that can be avoided in future.
I hope that this has been. I imagine it must, if the designer has been listening, or if the designer listens, after the fact, I imagine that parts of this might be quite difficult for them to hear, if you know what I mean. But I hope that it is useful. I hope that it's made them think about the ramifications of the games, like thinks of what Heather said about being spoken over, like of the having a vaguely difficult goal before you even start adding on these restrictions. But there's definitely something really exciting here, and something that does, I think we are all interested to try a new iteration at some point. Andrew's, I don't want to speak for you, Heather. Andrew's expressed that explicitly.
I think I would be interested to see it evolve. I'm curious to see how it evolves,
Okay.
And participate in that as much as it comes up. Like, since I only come twice a month, I might not end up landing on it, and that's okay. And it's okay if I do too. I did want to say, I think the NO-EVELL is a good name for it. I think that's clever. And what was the other thing had one other thing to say, blanked out on it. I don't remember now. Oh well.
And I think with that, I definitely want to draw a line under this. And it has, let me move to my other. I want to thank. So to recap, we started off with 5 MELL, and we didn't have a terribly good game of that, and that was somewhat broken.
A game in which you can't draw vowels.
With just waiting for a good card. Then we played NO-EVELL, and that was also a bit frustrating. And but we had a really inspired discussion about it. And Then I would like to say thank you to everyone who's been watching and chiming in. Thank you to Alex, to Matt, to of course XATE, who was here earlier, to Matt Grenfall, to Javier, Duchess, everyone who's been in the chat, Andrew January,
Generium.
And yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you to XATE who was here and also giving some more feedback afterwards. Thank you to Heather, who it's lovely to see you again. And thank you to Andrew.
I'm not sure I deserve thanks for this one, but yes.
But I would like to say, what are we looking forward to? Hopes and ambitions, it's over to you for this final section. And if you want me to start, my hope is to go to the shops minutes after we finish and then buy a few things for my housemates who's not too well.
Oh, it's a late store trip for you. Hopefully it's open 24 hours.
Oh no, it closes at 11.
Okay. Well, my wedding anniversary is this weekend. So I hope to do a drive in the mountains with my husband. Where I live is in Colorado. And so in 10 minutes, we are in a canyon going up. Well, depending on which canyon we're going to, we're planning to go to a canyon further north that we don't usually drive in to make it interesting. You know, like a drive we don't usually take since we're not really going to get out of our car that much. And then we're going to camp in our backyard. We're going to pitch a tent in our backyard and sleep there. So we are going we're a faux vacation over this weekend. It'll be good.
Sounds awesome.
Andrew.
Tepid shower and Christmas.
Wow.
Just for a change of weather at this point. The thunderstorm that we've been promised for 2 days. Yet turned up.
If you want to find me,
cool.
Actually, you can check me out everywhere. My main website is stuffbybez.com, but it's basically just got links to my old Kickstarters and all these other places that you will see below. Stuffbybez.bigcartel.com is where you can buy my stuff. Twitter.com/stuffbybez. I post all the time and sometimes share photos of nice things, as I also do on Instagram.com/stuffbez, although I'm a bit more selective there. Twitch.tv/stuffbez is the best place to watch these streams. Facebook.com/thingsbybez. Yeah, that's a thing. And stuffbybez@gmail.com in case you wish to email me. And I've got other people hoping for thunderstorms. Where can people find you, Heather?
Protospiel.online and openhousemysteryparties.com.
Cool. And please spread the word. I'll be back at 10 a.m. Tomorrow. I am chatting to... I cannot remember. Ella. I'm getting to meet Ella from Ella Loves Board Games. Quite excited.
Cool.
To them very briefly at Essen, but that's like the 2-minute chat, and whereas getting to chat to them for an hour, that's going to be quite fun. And yeah, for now there is only one thing left to do, and that one thing, as people might remember, is to sing bye 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye 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 bye. Now,
this is my new version.
Bye 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye bye.
Bye bye.